Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to call our Tuesday, May 27th, Fayetteville City Council meeting to order. We welcome those who are joining us in the audience, those who are logging in virtually. I think we have Councilmember Derek Thompson who is joining us by phone. Councilmember, are you there? Just checking the audio and the volumes.
I can hear you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, sir. Welcome, and welcome those who are joining us. At this time, as with every meeting, we will start with the invocation. Ask the Pastor Brett Johnson of the Galatia Presbyterian Church. Pastor will come. If we could all stand for the prayer. Immediately following the prayer, if we could repeat the Pledge of Allegiance. Good evening, Pastor.
Good evening, sir. Let's pray. Almighty and loving Father, as we turn to you now in prayer, we give you thanks for your gracious mercy and for your many blessings on all who have gathered here this evening. We are especially thankful for these dedicated servants who serve our city and our community so faithfully. Father, we are grateful that you have called, equipped, and empowered our mayor and each member of this city council to serve in this most important role. We are truly blessed to have them represent us and the needs of our community. And as this meeting comes to order, we pray that you will guide our thoughts and our discussions, that you will grant us all discernment and wisdom as items are discussed and decisions are made. Enable us to see the actions that would truly serve the greater good as we seek the very best for our great city. Father, in your loving mercy, bless now our time together. Bless the work that will be accomplished. Bless those who labor to accomplish that work. And bless all who have come to share their thoughts, their wisdom, and their concerns with this wise counsel. We ask these and all things in your precious name. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Pastor. If you can, just a moment, tell us a little bit about yourself and your church. I know former council member, late Bill Chris, used to attend your church, and
Yes,
I've
sir.
been out there with him on a few occasions. You want to tell us a little bit about yourself and your ministry?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We're about as far west as you can go and still be in the city of Fayetteville, but we're very much a part of the city. We have, in addition to our English and Spanish-speaking services on Sunday, we also have a very strong local mission. We're partnered with Second Harvest Food Bank, and every Friday we distribute food. I think this last Friday the numbers reported were close to 560 people were fed, and we're very proud of that local ministry.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you for the work that you're doing. Let's give the pastor in Galatia Baptist Church a round of applause.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. At this time, council, we would like to ask Ms. Rylan Mack, Fayetteville Cumberland Youth Council President. She's going to come with her team and deliver us a 5-minute year in review. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Youth Council. And just before she gets started, you may want to just take a moment, introduce your team. But we do want to say that our Youth Council, which consists of students throughout Cumberland County, future leaders and aspiring leaders in this community, has been nationally recognized on multiple occasions for being the best of the best. And so we thank you for what you're doing and just want to introduce your team.
Well, thank you. I'm Rylan Mack. I'm the chair of the Fayetteville Cumberland Youth Council, and these are just some of our seniors. They're going to share at the end just their future plans and what they are going to aspire in college. So thank you so much for welcoming us this evening. It is truly an honor to represent the Fayetteville Cumberland Youth Council, a youth-led organization dedicated to service, leadership, and creating positive change throughout our community. My name is Rylan Mack, also, and I proudly serve as the chair of the Fayetteville Cumberland Youth Council, as well as the newly elected chair of the North Carolina State Youth Council for the 2025-2026 school year. Our mission is to serve as a voice for the youth in Fayetteville Cumberland County by focusing on the betterment and promotion of our community. Before I finish with my speech, we have a little video just to show you recapping some of our major events this year. some of our events. Thank you so much. I'll explain what those events are in a little bit. Over the past year, FCYC has been incredibly active in our schools and across the community. We participated in multiple state youth council conferences and proudly represented Fayetteville on a national level at the National League of Cities Conference. We engaged with youth councils from across the country, discussed pressing civic issues, and brought new ideas home to strengthen our local efforts. We also held a variety of impactful events throughout the year. In October, we hosted a Pink Out meeting in recognition of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, where we honor survivors and encourage early detection through powerful discussions and unity in pink. In February, we launched our Kindness Matters Week, which included themed spirit days like Notes of Gratitude and We Love Kindness Day. Our message of positivity spread across schools and social media, reinforcing that kindness never goes out of style. Throughout Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month, we educated our members on how to identify red flags and foster healthy relationships. We hosted a meaningful Teen Dating Violence Awareness seminar featuring expert speakers, powerful teen testimonies, and engaging panel discussions and therapeutic art sessions. The event created a safe space for dialogue, reflection, and empowerment. We were honored to be joined by Councilmember Courtney Banks McLaughlin, who participated as a panelist and contributed invaluable insight to the conversation. In celebration of the Month of Military Child, our Military Appreciation Committee hosted a Military Family Appreciation Day called Purple Up. It was a family-friendly afternoon full of games, community, and heartfelt tribute to both service members and their children. Our annual Jingle Tree campaign is called as a tradition of giving by collecting clothing, shoes, games, and more for local teens, raising over $800 and bringing holiday cheer to families in need. For Suicide Prevention Month, we spread messages of encouragement by placing handwritten notes of Ziploc bags throughout the community. This simple but heartfelt act touched many and helped promote mental health awareness. And of course, one of the most memorable moments this year was our main event outing, which we were proud to share with Mayor Pro Tem Ms. Kathy Jensen. Her presence was a powerful reminder of how much youth voices are valued in our community. We are truly grateful for her ongoing support, encouragement, and engagement with our council. These events are only a glimpse into the heart of FCYC. Every project that we lead and every message that we share is fueled by the belief that young people are not just leaders of tomorrow, but we are leaders of today. To the City Council, thank you for giving us a space to grow, speak, and lead. Your ongoing support empowers us and reaffirms that Fayetteville is a city where youth leadership is not only welcomed, but celebrated. As we look ahead, we are so excited to continue working alongside you. We would like to conclude this evening with a special moment. Our graduating seniors will now come forward to introduce themselves and share their goals after graduation. Well, while not all of them were able to attend tonight, we are so proud of all of them and recognize each and every one of them for accomplishments and their bright futures. Thank you. But we also have one sophomore. She's just going to introduce herself, and she decided to join and support our seniors also.
All right.
Riley. She's our sophomore this evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Riley Woods, and I attend Cross Creek Early College as a rising junior.
All right, Riley. Well, welcome. You're hanging out with the seniors, huh?
Hi, good evening. My name is Trevor Mayfield Jr. I just graduated from Cross Creek Early College. I'll be attending Duke University in the fall, majoring in computer science with a minor in creative writing, and I want to go on to create my own video game development studio.
That's what I'm talking about, man.
Good evening. I am Carmen Wiley, a recent graduate of Cumberland International Early College High School. I plan on attending UNC Chapel Hill this fall, majoring in physics with a minor in astronomy.
Wow.
And for the future, I hope to become a researcher working with NASA.
All right.
Good evening. My name is Charles Pennington. I am graduating from Jack Britt High School. I plan on going to Fayetteville Technical Community College for a year, then going to UNC Charlotte, majoring in HR business.
Hi, my name is Skylar McDonald. I recently graduated from Cumberland International Early College High School. This fall, I will attend Winston-Salem State University to major in nursing, and in the future, I plan to become a psychiatric nurse.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Caitlin Yvonne Shaw. I am a recent graduate of Cumberland International Early College High School. I will be attending Winston-Salem State University in the fall to major in biology with hopes of becoming a cardiothoracic surgeon in the future.
All right.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Aslan Raja. I am homeschooled, and I have yet to graduate from my homeschool, but I have graduated from FTCC with my associate. I plan to go on to NC State, go Pack, in the fall. I like to see it. I want a double major in environmental sciences as well as international studies, and I'm looking to become an environmental lawyer or human rights lawyer, or probably both.
All right. So let's give our youth, our future, another round of applause. Well, we thank you. We thank you, Rylan. If anything, this should have made you proud because you see how proud we are of you. We have future NASA doctors, nurses, gamers. We have someone with an associate's degree before they graduated high school. You know, I mean, it's some amazing things that you all are doing, and our future is bright. We would like for you to come up and take a picture with us, if you wouldn't mind. Well, you're a little tall, so you're going to make me look short. Yeah, you can block him up.
He is blocking you, Mayor. There you go. All right, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
All right, thank y'all. Fantastic. At this time, I'll go to Councilmember Green. She has a special presentation. Oh, you already there? You quick.
I'm trying to make it so we're not here till 10 or 12
Appreciate
o'clock
that.
tonight. You're welcome. So can I have all the Terry Sanford students up that were involved in the mural that's in the back hall?
All right.
In the heart of downtown Fayetteville, a new mural now graces the walls of City Hall, a vibrant tribute to the men and women who have served in our armed forces.
Mr. Beimer and Ms. Edwards reached out to me in an effort to create a veterans mural to honor the veterans of Fayetteville, North Carolina. And they sought out Terry Sanford. My students from the National Art Honor Society are involved in the project, or my art club. There's about 10 of us. One of my students in that club, her name is Kamani Montgomery. She came up with the design. At first I had all the kids design. We had at least 5 or 6 different designs, and Kamani's was chosen. I let the students know what we were doing, and then I left them to their creative processes, and then we just brought those designs to Mr. Beimer and Ms. Everidge, and they chose the most appropriate design for the space. The students are very excited and very honored to create a mural that honors veterans and to be part of a community project.
For students like Erica Oliver, who has been painting for over 3 years, this project offers a deeper sense of purpose. In her words, "I'm just grateful to be a part of something that honors people who gave us so much."
What it means to me is it's an opportunity that you don't get every day. Especially, I feel like it's an opportunity some people don't even get in their lifetime to be able to work on something that not only honors veterans, but it's not every day you get asked to do something for City Hall. I've helped paint the colors on the mural, and I've also helped a lot with the shading of the mural. I'm very grateful for the opportunity. I'm very honored. I'm especially grateful to my art teacher who let me be a part of this project, because it's one thing to get approached with it, and then it's also another thing to put trust in the students who help bring this project to life.
The Veterans Mural stands as more than just artwork. It's a living reminder of sacrifice, service, and community pride, a lasting symbol of gratitude painted by the next generation.
Thank you all. On behalf of the Fayetteville City Council, I am honored to recognize these talented students and the faculty at Terry Sanford Art Club for lending your creativity and passion to the new mural celebrating city employees who have served in military uniform. It has not gone unnoticed. We watched it go from just red and white lines on a wall to be just the masterpiece that it is. And I have had so many people stop and realize that in that shading are those eagles' faces. And when you realize that, you can't unsee it. It's absolutely amazing. So in that, I do want to, your work has truly transformed that back hall. And we just really want to take this time tonight to thank you and your students. So I want to recognize each of them. Their leader is Miss Siner. She is the art teacher and their project mentor. Kamani Montgomery. Sandy Young. Amina Rice. And if I'm pronouncing names wrong, I truly apologize. Keisha Halsey. Anna Mylewald. Millwood. Okay. That is not what that looks like, folks. That just goes to show the English language is very difficult. And Erica Oliver. I want to take a moment and do a special mention about Erica. She's not only a talented artist within the City Hall, but her talents carried her first place finishes at both the regional and the state levels in mock trial illustration, earning an invitation to draw at the North Carolina Supreme Court and to represent our state at the national competition in Phoenix, Arizona. I also want to extend a heartfelt thank you to Angela Everidge of our Development Services, whose leadership and personal dedication made the Veterans Art Project possible. Angela not only connected the city with Ms. Siner and the Terry Sanford Art Club, but also volunteered countless evenings, staying past 5 p.m. after her regular workday to guide students, coordinate supplies, and ensure every brushstroke honored our employees who have served. Angela, your commitment turned a vision into a lasting tribute, and our veteran staff and community are deeply appreciative. Everyone's willingness to give their time, talent, and steady encouragement exemplifies the very spirit of service we are celebrating. Thank you for using your gifts to honor those who have worn the nation's uniform and for bringing pride to Terry Sanford High School and the entire city of Fayetteville. Thank you, Ms. Siner, and your students. You want to say a few?
This experience was very humbling, and it was a moment to work with my students and to work through artistic problems and for them to be recognized. And I would like to thank you on behalf of our school, Terry Sanford High School, for this opportunity.
We thank you. Well, we thank you. I thought you were one of the students. You look mighty young. How you doing? All right, how y'all doing? Come on over, sister. All right. Let's see. Great job. I use it as a backdrop too. Y'all good? Yeah. I know.
It's just a photo.
Y'all behave yourself. It's just a photo. Get too comfortable over All right. Thank you. Thank you to Terry Sanford. Outstanding again. Great display of the young talent and the future of our community here. Thank you, Councilmember Green, for sharing that with us. At this time, I'll turn it over to Councilmember Banks McLaughlin. We have a number of, all of you are important, but we have a number of special recognition recipients tonight. But I'll turn it over to Councilmember Banks McLaughlin for introduction of one such attendee.
Thank you, Mayor. I wanted to recognize Miss North Carolina High School America, Miss Abby Drees, if you're in the building. Can you please come forward? Come on up.
Hi everyone, my name is Abigail Drees, but I go by Abby. I want to thank Miss Kathy Jensen and the City of Fayetteville for having me tonight. It's such an honor to be speaking to all of you. I was born and raised in Cumberland County, North Carolina, so this city definitely holds a very special place in my heart. A little bit about myself, I'm a rising junior at Grace Creek High School, where I'm involved in Student Government Association and Future Business Leaders of America. I also love to volunteer, and I hope to become a veterinarian one day.
All right. Well, thank you. You're well on your way.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Well, tell us a little bit about your processes. Do you have another competition? I know you're already Miss High School, North Carolina High School America. So tell us about the competition and what that entails.
Yes, sir. So I started doing pageantry when I was in elementary school. I first held Miss Grace Creek Middle School, so I was able to represent Cumberland County during that time. So it's such an honor to be here tonight because if it wasn't for Fayetteville and Cumberland County, I definitely wouldn't be where I am today. And in January, I was crowned Miss North Carolina High School America, and now I'm getting ready for nationals, which will be in Little Rock, Arkansas in July, where I'll compete in evening gown, fun fashion, and a private interview. During my preparation for Miss High School America, I have been promoting the national platform, BRAVE. It stands for Building Respects and Values for Everyone. It's an anti-bullying platform, and I've been able to promote it through my own personal initiative called Raise Your Hand, where I speak to youth about the importance of being kind and raising their hand when they see bullying and being an upstander and not a bystander, because 80% of people that see bullying don't even do anything about it. And thanks to the support from the Cumberland County Parks and Recreation Program, I have been able to spread my initiative out to all public after-school programs in Cumberland County, North Carolina, after proposing the idea to the Parks and Rec Board. So if it weren't for Fayetteville and Cumberland County, I definitely would not be where I am today, making the change that I am today. So hopefully I make you guys proud at nationals representing North Carolina, but also Cumberland County.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
All right. All right, at this time, you got it? Okay. We'd like to ask, as we recognize National Foster Care Month, if we could ask Miss Shemaine Holly, if she can meet me at the podium at this time, please.
Whereas May is recognized nationally as Foster Care Month, a time to honor the strength and resilience of over 390,000 children and youth currently in the foster care system across the United States, and whereas children and youth in foster care deserve safe, stable, and nurturing environments that support their well-being, healing, and long-term success, and whereas foster parents, kinship caregivers, child welfare professionals, mentors, and advocates play a vital role in providing love, guidance, and support to youth in care, and their contributions deserve to be recognized and celebrated. And whereas the City of Fayetteville recognizes the importance of building awareness, encouraging community involvement, and promoting policies that strengthen the support systems around children and families connected to foster care, and whereas youth with lived experiences in foster care bring valuable insight to improving the child welfare system, and should be empowered as leaders and decision makers in shaping supportive policies and practices. And whereas raising public awareness about the experiences of children in foster care and the challenges they face is essential to creating a more inclusive, responsive, and compassionate community. And whereas National Foster Care Month provides an opportunity for citizens, organizations, and local leaders to come together to support recruitment and retention of foster families, promote trauma-informed care, and advance permanency and well-being for all children. And whereas fostering community partnerships among schools, health care providers, faith-based institutions, and advocacy organizations strengthen the safety net around children and youth in care. And whereas the City of Fayetteville affirms in commitment to uplifting the voices of foster care-involved individuals and working toward a future where every child has the opportunity to thrive in a loving, permanent home. Now, therefore, I, Mitch Colvin, Mayor of the City of Fayetteville, North Carolina, and on behalf of the City Council and more than 208,000 citizens, do hereby honorably proclaim the month of May 2025 as National Foster Care Month.
Thank you guys so much for having me today. I know I probably emailed, if not all of you, most of you, regarding this. I am a native Georgian. I'm from Georgia, Albany, Georgia to be specific. Me and my husband just got stationed here last year, November. He serves in the Army, of course. And I feel like it is my duty to advocate for young people in foster care as I am an alumni of foster care. I'm very privileged to be in this city. I love volunteering. I love being encouraged and involved in the community. So to be a part of this meeting today, to hear not only what you guys do in the community, but what my peers in the community are doing, it is super duper exciting. I just want to say thank you again for hearing me, and I'm new here, but hearing me and inviting me in to be a part of your community, it means everything. And young people in foster care need that. We breed that, and I appreciate you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, as we come forward, we would like, there's a proclamation for ALS Awareness Month. Ms. Manny Barnes, she's not here. Okay, we'll move on to the next one, Mayor. Okay, please. That proclamation will still be read, Mayor.
Yes. Thank you. Whereas amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS, also commonly known as Lou Gehrig's disease, is a progressive, fatal neurodegenerative disease in which a person's brain loses connection with their muscles, slowly reducing a person's ability to walk, talk, eat, and eventually breathe. And whereas thousands of new ALS cases are reported every year, and estimates show that every 90 minutes someone is diagnosed with ALS and someone passes away from ALS. And whereas on average patients diagnosed with ALS survive only 2 to 5 years from the time of diagnosis. And whereas the exact causes of ALS are unknown and there is no known cure for ALS. And whereas people who have served in the military are more likely to develop ALS and die from the disease than those with no history of military service. And whereas securing access to new therapies, durable medical equipment, and communication technologies is of vital importance to people living with ALS. And whereas clinical trials play a pivotal role in evaluating new treatments, enhancing quality of life, and fostering assistive technologies for those living with ALS. And whereas the ALS Association is the largest philanthropic funder of ALS research globally and has committed more than $154 million to support more than 550 projects across the United States and 18 other countries. And whereas the ALS Association is committed to accelerating the pace of discovery, fueled by the hope that one day ALS will be a livable disease for everyone, everywhere, until a cure can be found. And whereas ALS Awareness Month provides an opportunity to increase public awareness of the dire circumstances of people living with ALS, acknowledge the terrible impact this disease has on those individuals and their families, and support research to eradicate this disease. Now, therefore, I, Mitch Colvin, Mayor of the City of Fayetteville, North Carolina, and on behalf of City Council and more than 208,000 citizens, do hereby honorably proclaim the month of May 2025 as ALS Awareness Month.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilmember Green. And at this time, if we could have Tony and Grammy Award winning Broadway performing J. Harrison Gee, if you could meet me at the podium at this time, please. All right, at this time, I'll go to Councilmember Benavente, who will read just a few facts about you before we make our presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I know that Mayor Colvin being a proud E. Smith graduate, class of 2000, is that correct?
A little further back.
Okay. There's a lot of Golden Bulls in the house, too. Can y'all make yourself known? All the Golden Bulls in the house? We are so very lucky and so very proud to count J. Harrison Gee as a class of 2007 graduate, and of course a member of the magnificent marching machine. And after first receiving recognition for their performance as Lola in Kinky Boots in December 2022, they originated the role of Jerry, Daphne in Some Like It Hot, a stage musical based on the 1959 film. They won the 2023 Tony Award for Best Actor in a Musical at the 76th Tony Awards, becoming the first openly non-binary actor to be nominated for and to win this Tony Award. And again, in 2024, they won the Grammy Award for Best Musical Theater Album at the 66th Annual Grammy Awards. Mr. Mayor Colvin, I turn it back to you, sir.
Thank you. Well, Mr. Gee, you have a lot of accomplishments, but this tonight, on behalf of a very proudful city, give you our highest honor that we can present. It reads as follows: on behalf of the City of Fayetteville, Mayor and City Council, our city key and corn are proudly presented to J. Harrison Gee in grateful recognition of your devoted interest and unwavering commitment to our community and representing us on a national and global scale. We appreciate you, sir. Thank you.
I'm really humbled and honored to receive the key to the city. This place that has shaped me, has molded me. I am a proud graduate of E. Smith High School, and our motto is born of need, destined to serve, striving to excel. And that is truly how I try my best to live my life and represent Fayetteville, North Carolina. Everywhere I go, I really do pride myself on being from North Carolina. And there's got to be something in the water, because we do have so much talent from this place, and it is an honor to carry this city with me wherever I go, and to carry these incredible people with me. So many teachers in the room. I mean, my elementary school principal is here. Like, these are people who have really loved me and nourished me and nurtured me. And I will never forget this, and I'm so honored and grateful, so thank you.
Come on over. Thank you, Jay.
All right, well, thank you. There's a lot of recognitions tonight. We thank you for indulging us with your patience. We have a great community. We like to show it off. Oftentimes, a lot of this great talent represents us nationally, globally, regionally, and we don't have an opportunity to say thank you publicly, so we wanted to do that tonight. So thank you all who are recognized tonight. At this time, we do have a few additional announcements, and then we'll get into the agenda of tonight. I'll go to Councilmember DJ Hare.
Thank you, Mayor. And once again, thank you, sir. Congratulations. I would like to announce once again the 8th Annual HBCU College Fair experience. That will be on August the 16th, so it's time to go ahead and start getting prepared. All of our graduates, or future soon-to-be graduates. August the 16th, 2025, that will be from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. Because we have grown and gotten so large, we are now at the Crown Expo Center at 1960 Coliseum Drive, Fayetteville, North Carolina, 28306. And it is, we have two large sponsors among many, many others. But two that I would like to highlight is the Theory Group Incorporated and the men of Beta Chi Chapter Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. Okay. We hope that you all will be there on August the 16th for the HBCU 8th Annual College Fair Experience. Thank you, Mayor.
All right. Now, if I knew that was going to be a mega announcement, I wouldn't have gave you the mic. Okay. All right. Councilmember Green.
Since Councilmember Hare didn't announce this, I'm going to take the opportunity as an E.E. Smith graduate, since I'm over in Broadell and Seabrook almost as much as he is. But anyway, I too was in the magnificent marching machine. So.
What?
Yes. First chair, first clarinet. Thank you very much. Anyway, Saturday at Seabrook Broadell Park, we're going to clean up the park, and we are going to do a family fun day. It starts at 8 a.m., and the cookout starts at 11. For those of you who've been there before, it's great fun, great time to just sit around and talk with your friends and your neighbors and everybody that shows up. So come show up, clean up the park with us, and enjoy games and music and food, and just have a good time celebrating that area. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Green. Absolutely. And I did see Mr. Pratt back there. I saw you, sir. Good to see you. And all of our guests tonight, thank you for indulging us. Do want to acknowledge and keep in prayer Apostle Ford and his family with the recent passing of First Lady Ford. Certainly there in our thoughts and prayers, real pivotal contributors to our community and to the Murchison Road area with Kingdom Impact, Global Impact Ministries that is wide-reaching, but certainly keep the Ford family. And I saw Ryan tip in somewhere back there, but thoughts and prayers are with the Ford family at this time and all who have lost loved ones in our community. Council, at this time, we'll move to items of business. Now that we've completed the announcements and recognitions, I'll go to the City Manager, Mr. Hewitt.
Thank you, Mayor and members of council. What an amazing introduction we've had so far this evening. I know that some people may be transitioning before we begin our regular meeting, but as they're doing that, I'd ask if I could get our new CIO to come forward along with our Willie, Ms. Willie Johnson as well, who is going to be retiring from us very soon. As you may know, we did a nationwide search, Mayor, members of council, for our Chief Information Officer. And we didn't have to go too far. We found him actually on the other side of Charlotte, over in Gaston County. And when he makes his way forward, I'll ask him for a few remarks, along with also showing our gratitude for Ms. Johnson as well for her time with the city and her leadership over the last 18 months as well. But Willie, if you could do the introductions and...
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. So Willie Henry I'm Willie Johnson. We're replacing me with Willie, so that should be easy for everyone to remember. We're excited to have him start. His first day was officially today, coming from Gaston County, previous great IT experience and leadership, and we're glad to have him and excited to get him up and running. So we'll be transitioning for the next 30 days or so. My last day is June 30th.
Oh.
And I appreciate the opportunity, of course, to do this for the last couple of years. It's been a great experience for me, and I'm very humbled to be put in that.
Well, after he finishes, you're going to come back so we can give you some love. So just don't get too far away.
So thank you so much, City Manager Hewitt, City Manager's Office, Mayor and council members. I am honored to be a servant leader here for the city of Fayetteville. I'm excited to continue what information technology will do for America's can-do city. So thank you again. It's a pleasure and looking forward to everything that we could create. Magic is on the way.
Well, we welcome you, sir. I did have a little birdie whisper in my ear that said you wore purple and gold sometimes.
Proud. Purple and gold. Proud. Purple and gold.
I was starting to like you for a little bit. All right, so let me get the other Willie up here.
Well, Dr. Hare, I told you I delivered it.
All right, now listen, who told you could go and retire on us? But she has, we see the fruits of your work. You're not one that needs to be out front, but you're very important and critical to the operation of this city, because if we don't have IT and our computer systems are not working, then this organization doesn't run. So you have done an amazing job of service to our community, to our city, and we say thank you. And we will miss you. We welcome you, Willie, but we like her, particularly now after I found out about it. But we say thank you. And so whatever your next chapter holds, we pray God's blessings for you and your family moving forward. So thank you for your work.
Thank you. And I just want to say thanks again for giving me the opportunity. My staff, the IT department has been wonderful. We've done a lot in the last couple of years, and it's been a great experience, so I do appreciate it. And thank you again.
Thank you.
With that, Mr. Mayor, I'll yield my time. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right, Council, moving to 6.0 is approval of the agenda. Council can have a motion to approve. I see Councilmember Hondros. Is that what that is, sir?
So move.
All right. So motion by Councilmember Hondros is seconded by Courtney Banks McLaughlin. Is that, all right. Any discussion on the motion? This is to approve the agenda. All right, Council, I'll look to you for your votes on this.
Green.
All right. Thank you, Councilmember Thompson. Motion carries unanimously by those voting. Madam Attorney, should we have removed those requested tabled items, or we get to it at the time?
We're going to table those when we get to those items, Mayor.
All right, thank you. All right, Council, moving to 7.0A, the consent. Is that Councilmember Hondros? Is that your a new light? Yes, sir.
Motion to approve consent.
All right. There's a motion by Councilmember Hondros to approve, seconded by Councilmember Hare. Any discussion on the consent? You had discussion?
No, that was the second.
All right, Council, I'll look to you for your votes.
Green.
Thank you, Councilmember Thompson, and Benavente, I guess, step away. All right, motion carries. Moving to the next item of business are the public hearings. Item 8.01. So as we prepare for the public hearings.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I move that we pull 8.01 per the applicant's request. We just did consent.
As 8.01, yes. All right.
Per the applicant's request to June 9th regular scheduled meeting.
All right, there's a motion by Councilmember Hondros to pull that item as stated with the rescheduling of June 9th. It's seconded by Councilmember Hare. Any discussion on the motion? All right, Council, I'll look to you for your votes on that action.
Green.
All right. Councilmember Thompson is a green. And who are we missing? Councilmember Hondros, you made the motion. All right. All right, motion carries. Item is moved to June 9th. 8.02, public hearing, fiscal year, annual operating budget, and capital technology improvement plans. Good evening, sir. Mr. Yates.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
All right, tonight what we have before you is the required public hearing. This is the last hurdle that clears the way for your adoption of the budget.
Not the last hurdle now.
Excuse me?
Not the last hurdle.
Well,
a hurdle.
The legal hurdle. So after this, you can adopt it at any time with the amendments that you would like to make. What I'd like to do is just kind of give you a quick refresh on where we are. If you remember, the council met in February and worked on their priorities that were then approved in April. The first one being commitment to the comprehensive approach to community safety, revitalization efforts and housing needs, expanding our parks and recreation opportunities, fostering economic growth, and enhancing transportation. All of these were factored into the budget development. Our key principles that we worked around were focus on the employees, a focus on maintaining those services and commitments that are critical for our residents, and then focus on high-value, high-impact additions to the budget. And we've discussed those at 2 or 3 different budget work sessions. So just a couple of the highlights. The recommended tax rate is a 13-cent tax reduction over prior year's rate. It's the lowest rate in 30 years. It's about 6 cents higher than what the revenue neutral rate is. We focused on, again, achieving the council's priorities that were adopted in April. The total budget is about $8.5 million less than it was in the revised 2025 budget. There's more than $114 million invested in public and community safety. Stormwater and solid waste rates remain the same. Our focus on employees continues, the 4% merit increase with the 1% addition to the 401k for non-step or non-sworn employees. And then we want to recommending honoring the steps for all the others. About $3.5 million invested in keeping up with the changing community. That ranged everything from IT support, as you heard from Mr. Henry coming up tonight as our new CIO, planning and development, fire marshal, our fire inspections groups, and different components. We've also got the council's additional budgetary requests, which we will discuss in more detail on Thursday at that work session. The recommended rate breaks down into the operating rate, which is about 38.5 cents, the GO bond rate, which is the voter-approved referendum debt, of about 0.8 cents, the public safety GO bond rate, about 1.6 cents, and then our dedicated capital improvement rate of about 4 cents. That totals to 4,495. With that, the process to date, I just kind of remind you kind of where we've been. We had the strategic planning retreat on the 11th and the 12th of February. We had the council strategic plan presentation and acceptance, as well as our third quarter financial update on the 14th of April. We brought forward the manager's recommended CIP tip presentation on the 28th. Then on the 12th, the recommended budget presentation. Then on the 15th, we had a budget work session where we talked about the operating budget and tax rate, amongst other things, and pro formas of the different funds and so forth. May 22nd, last week, you talked about the public safety, OCS, fire police, the fire department, and then the safety initiatives, and you talked about the stormwater. And then tonight we have the 27th, which is the required public hearing. What we have planned that is left is we have Thursday's budget work session. This is where we will bring back the parking lot that we have, and we'll go through those items, talk through them, and try to gain consensus from the council and review any other outstanding questions that you have. And then on the 9th, we will bring it back for adoption. We do have a work session between here and the 9th on the 2nd, which right now we haven't slated to do a budget work session. But if needed, if we don't reach consensus on Thursday or don't complete the work that you would like to have, we have that date as kind of an if needed date. It's not on this schedule, but we can always add that to your work session for a week from yesterday for that Monday. So with that, Mayor, I'll turn it back to you for the public hearing.
All right, thank you. At this time, we will begin our public hearing where the City Council formally seeks your input. Individuals desiring to speak in the hearing must have signed up to speak with the city clerk by name and address before the beginning of tonight's meeting. We begin with a staff presentation, which we've heard, and we'll move into the formal hearing. 15 minutes will be allowed for those in favor and those that oppose the item in question. Individual speakers, however, are limited to 3 minutes each unless by previous arrangement a single spokesperson has been designated in which that spokesperson may use the entire time. When the city clerk calls your name, please come to the podium. Please clearly state your name and an address for the record. You may then address the city council. And when the light changes from green to amber, that means you have 30 seconds remaining. And at the conclusion of your time, the timer will ring or the light will turn red and you'll be notified that your time has expired. So with that, I will open the public hearing. Madam Clerk.
Mayor, we have one speaker, Miss Rita McMillan.
Hey there, Miss McMillan. How you doing?
I'm blessed and highly favored of God and man anyhow.
And I see Bishop back there. Hey, Bishop.
Amen. So I'm happy to be here. So happy to see my favorite, Mayor Colvin, and the city councils meet as well. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Pastor Rita Ewan McMillan, and my church is New Life Covenant Fellowship Church, 362 Neville Street, which is located in District 2. And my address is 1929 Ash Ridge Drive in the great city of Fayetteville, North Carolina. I'm going to kind of read over my concerns and my statements so that I don't go over my 3 minutes. So I am here as one of the concerned citizens of North Street and the surrounding community, of which I would like to petition this council to add to the budget money for a splash pad at the North Street Park for the children of that area. I have a copy signed of petitions that I am presenting to you tonight requesting the splash pad that has been so long overdue and overlooked for at least the 7 years that I have resided here in Fayetteville. Have this splash pad matter ever been brought before the council? If not, why not? Nevertheless, I am advocating for the splash pad to be added into the budget for that particular community. Now, your attention to this matter will be greatly appreciated. And again, very concerned citizens because summer is coming up. These kids have not ever had a splash pad during the time of many councilmen that have been in that district. So again, if you would greatly consider putting that into the budget, we and those petitions that I have, which is 4 pages, I'll give it to the clerk.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And I thank you for allowing me to speak here tonight.
Thank you, Pastor McMillan. Great comments. We appreciate that. If you can hand that to the clerk, and that is a great point. We have had wonderful reception of splash pads that we put in over the last several years. So we thank you for bringing that point.
We haven't had anything added to North Street, which is also known as Blueberry
Place. Yes, ma'am.
Apartments.
Gotcha.
So
All
please
right.
consider it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. All right, Madam Clerk.
Mayor, we have no further speakers.
All right. So with that, we'll close the public hearing. Mr. Yates, I don't see any questions. I did have a question for you. You make an answer from here. We've had the last 3 Thursdays, or this will be the 3rd Thursday that we have. The City Council has the budget workshops. We always leave with questions, and it's appreciated when those answers are given to us prior to the next Thursday. So when can we expect the discussion points from the last meeting to get here?
There are a couple of open questions that are taking a little more time. So what we have, we will send out sometime tomorrow. but I know there was a specific question about census tract data that is a much longer and robust question. So we'll review those in the morning and get those out that are complete and ready. And we'll
Yeah,
let
just
you
so
know
we have
what's
an
missing.
opportunity to process that. Okay, we
Absolutely.
appreciate it. All right, Councilmember Hare and then Benavente.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Yates, stay there, please. As now we have this meeting and we have another meeting of the two that you just showed us. Where are we going on? Are you all going to? Oh, I know we have to prioritize what those parking lot items that will be chosen, but are there going to be any responses on is there a possibility of them being implemented or brought into the budget, or I mean, how is this going to work, Mayor?
So what will happen is we'll have the last presentation of whatever portfolio that is for Thursday. He's sending out those questions and then we're going to have a cleanup meeting. I think that we'll need an additional meeting because this one was scheduled for a presentation and then parking lot cleanup. But at that final meeting is where the council can discuss, how we put those other items of interest, if we can get on a consensus to put things in or take things out. We'll need a cleanup meeting behind that. So,
and thanks, Mayor. So then within that cleanup meeting, are they going to be giving us some budget? And
some numbers to go with it?
If it's possible, knowing what those requests are and with numbers to those requests and how we can do it, if we can do it, even if that means, you all's word of doing some
Thank you,
raising
Jeffrey.
somewhere in there.
So, yeah.
Yes, sir. We do a quick tally today. A conversation with Jeff is that we have some additions that councils would like to see.
Yes, sir.
And we are prepared to provide those with numbers and some possible strategies for y'all to consider on Thursday as well.
Okay, that's right. Thank you.
All right.
Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Benavente.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Yates, can you tell us about future opportunities for citizens to be able to speak, maybe not just to capital and technology improvement plans, but on other aspects of the budget in a public hearing format?
So tonight was your legally required public hearing on the budget and the capital. The next opportunity, obviously, on the 9th, during the open comment period, during that 30-minute period, residents can always make comment on the budget. And then there's also email and questions. But tonight is the required hearing on the budget.
So I guess just to maybe get to the bigger point about my question, perhaps in budgets past, there's been a public hearing that, and this is the part where, would you correct me if I'm wrong, that as many citizens that have signed up is as long of a time as we'd have to allot to hear from everybody. Are you saying that that's what today was?
Correct.
And could you tell us if there was another means or method of creating an opportunity for citizens to be able to speak to this budget? What would be the process, since I guess we've technically met our bare minimum requirement? I'm not sure what sort of outreach or notice we gave to advertise this opportunity. What would be another method of being able to create this opportunity again?
So the requirements are that we have posted the budget online. So it was posted on the 12th, and the CIP was posted a little more than a week before that. We advertised the public hearing in the Sunday newspaper, as we do with public hearings. The council called for the hearing at the 12th council meeting, and that document has been open for inspection by the public in person and the clerk's office. So the public has had more than 10 days, which exceeds the requirement, to be able to review those documents. And then there are Budget Chronicles online. The questions that the mayor was mentioning earlier are available. There's also email available to residents to email questions and those kinds of things.
And I guess, my concern right now is that we still have a lot of information yet to present to the public on matters of the parking lot matters of on June 9th. I think we're going to get a lot more discussion about how we're going to address issues of youth safety in our community. And in my mind, there's just a lot more information that I think once it's out there is going to elicit some interest for the community to participate and want to speak to those things. And I'm concerned that today we're saying that you had your shot and you missed it, and there is no other opportunity outside of a 30-minute public forum. That I'm not sure, City Clerk, if you already know, are there at least 10 people signed up as of now?
For the budget public hearing?
No, I thought this was the budget public hearing. I'm talking about the next public forum on the 9th.
There are 9 speakers currently signed up for
9?
the public forum.
You said
For
9?
June 9th, yes, sir.
Right. So
That's not for the budget, it's just for the public forum that we do, right?
Well, that's correct, but I guess City Manager Yates just said that other than that public forum, there really is no opportunity again for anyone to speak on the budget. And I get that we had one speaker just now. I think there may be there's an opportunity for their matter to be addressed. But
So if I understand,
Yes, sir.
So during the public forum, they can talk about any issue, including the budget.
But there's only 3 minutes apiece, and it's only going to allow 9 people. I got to imagine if we, even some community members that I see out here in the audience, if they go back and tell folks that, hey, you have a chance to speak on what goes in on that budget, there'll be a lot more than one person that signs up for the 9th based on this revelation, if you will. I'm hoping that's the case anyways, because I hear a lot of people in the community complaining about, or excuse me, expressing concerns about the budget, but then this was the opportunity, only one person signed up. To me, there's a disconnect somewhere, and I don't believe it's that people aren't interested. I just believe perhaps they weren't aware that this was it.
Gotcha.
So I don't know if at the appropriate time, Mr. Mayor, I can make a motion to have our Mr. Yates or whoever's in charge maybe pick another date, a future date, so that opportunity can be had by the people.
All right, we'll come back to that.
Thanks,
I did
sir.
have a couple of other speakers. Councilmember Banks, McLaughlin, Davis, and Hare. Oh, you pulled yours, okay.
Thank you, Mayor. I did want to thank the community, those who came out to the budget sessions, and our staff for participating and educating our community. Although it was a low turnout, I was just reaching out to the city manager just to make sure that it is online, the recommended budget. So I would suggest the community, the residents, to review that information. And if you have any questions or concerns and not able to speak, contact your representative. Email, phone calls. That'd be a great way to get your issues taken care of. So I just wanted to leave off with that. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Councilmember Davis.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Yates, sir, 2 things. First thing, can you explain to the community what the parking lot items mean? And number 2, Ms. McMillan, who just got up here and spoke, could you add that to the parking lot for discussion at a later time?
I can, so I'll take the second one first.
Okay.
Yes, sir, we can add that to the
Thank
parking
you.
lot for discussion.
Thank you.
Basically, this council uses the parking lot, what we refer to as the parking lot. Essentially, the manager proposes his budget, and at that point, he gives that to the council for their work. There are always things then that aren't recommended in the budget that the council would like to see in there. Then the council, we add those to what we refer to, like I said, as the parking lot. Those are the additions and changes to the budget that the council would like to see that are based on your deliberations. And that's where reaching the consensus around that and how to balance those pieces, as Dr. Hare was mentioning, we'll bring back some recommendations on Thursday about possible ways to balance the budget with some of those additions in there and being able to achieve that. So the parking lot is just our friendly way of saying it's the working list of changes that the council is looking at.
All right. All right.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we direct city staff to select another opportunity for a public hearing specifically on the budget. And I'd just like some discussion, and if there's a second.
Okay. All right. Motion dies for lack of a second. All right. And, again, as Councilmember Banks McLaughlin said, this is an opportunity for you. It's the budget is little complex, but it's available. Like the McMillans, if you have some concerns, please email your representative or me, and we'll make sure that as we have these work sessions, also all the work sessions where we work through the budget are open to the public. So we invite you to attend that as well. But reach out to us and let us know your concerns and your points of interest, and we will try to do what we can to accommodate. But thank you to Pastor McMillan and Bishop for participating tonight. Council, with that, we'll move to evidentiary hearing. We are now moving into hearings that will require the City Council to hear sworn testimony. This is an evidentiary hearing. We remind you, the City Council's decision must be based on competent material and substantial. Councilman Benavente. Must be based on substantial evidence presented in the hearing. All those who wish to speak must be sworn and provide their testimony under oath. Council, if there's a need to disclose an ex parte or one-on-one conversation regarding this matter, please do so at this time. Ask that the city clerk affirm all those who will participate in the hearing. After that, Mr. Harmon will please present the case before I open the hearing. And at this time, I will now prepare and turn it over to Mr. Harmon. Yes.
Need to remove I move that we remove 9.01 per request of the applicant and reschedule for June 23rd regular schedule meeting.
Yeah. Yes, sir. So there's a motion to remove 901. We all previously removed 801, right? And so now we're at the 9 point. Okay. So there's a motion by Councilman Alejandros to remove 9.01 at the request of the applicant.
To June 23rd meeting.
To June 23rd. All right. Seconded by Councilmember Hare. Discussion on that? All right, Council, let's take a vote on that before we move into opening up the evidentiary hearing.
Green.
All right. Councilman Benavente, it's your pleasure. Thank you, Councilmember Thompson. All right. Motion carries 8-0. All right, so the evidentiary hearing will now pertain to 9.02 and 03. So with that, Mr. Harmon, turn it over to you, sir.
Being that these are evidentiary hearings, we do need to swear in our speakers that we have.
Yes, we have one for item 9.02, and we have two for 9.03. Mr. Bill Allen, Miss Christy Bennett, and Mr. Eric Allen, if you would all rise and raise your right hand. Bill Allen, Christy Bennett, and Eric Allen? Okay. All right. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the truth, so help you God? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, Mayor and Council. First evidentiary hearing we have for you this evening, SUP 2504. This is for a separation reduction between a use and the right-of-way. The particular use is an ice house. We don't see many of these, but this one is coming before you tonight. This one is at 2726 Rayford Road. It's basically in the Harris Teeter Shopping Center. It's beside of Hunan Gardens. In Miss Green's district. Again, just to give you an idea, Hunan Gardens, Harris Teeter over here, Purdue Drive, and Rayford Road. It is zoned heavy commercial, or our CC district. Our land use plan does call for a community center or our heavy commercial as well. These are a couple of pictures of the ice house. It actually is already there. I believe when the ice house was installed, they believed that it met the 100-foot from the right-of-way, but they were measuring from the center of the road instead of the right-of-way. It got installed, and so they're here tonight to try to rectify that issue. These are some of the photos of the surrounding area. And then, as you can see on the site plan here, the ice house is about 86 feet from the right-of-way. So they're looking for about a 14-foot reduction in what's required. That just gives you a view from the parking lot. Again, it is a special use permit, and the request is for a reduction of that 100-foot separation down to the 86 feet. If you have any questions about this particular case, if you'd wait till after you receive your testimony, staff would be glad to try to help you at that point.
All right, thank you, Mr. Harmon. So with that, I will open up the evidentiary hearing. And I ask the applicants to begin to make their presentation of the case. For the record, please state your name and address in relation to the case. Please provide your testimony. If you are offering expert testimony by you or one of your witnesses, please share with the council the supporting information that qualifies this individual as an expert. Having listened to the applicant's testimony, Madam Clerk, please call the speaker.
Yes, sir. Our speaker for this item is Mr. Bill Allen.
Sorry, it's the first time I've been to one.
That's all right. Good evening, sir.
My name's Bill Allen. I'm representing Toucan Ice. I work for Devance Locklear. And we'd like to start by saying that it was not done on purpose where it was put. It was a mistake by a previous employee who no longer works with us. We have several other ice boxes, and they're all followed by, we follow the rules, regulations, and guidelines. Let's see, the special use complies with all applicable standard conditions and specifications in the ordinance.
I'm sorry, sir. Can you please speak into the microphone?
Yes.
Thank you.
The special use complies with all applicable standards, conditions, and specifications in this ordinance, including the section 30-4C use specific standards. We are applying for a special use permit to reduce setback requirements by 14 feet. The required setback is 100 feet, and we have 86. If the special use isn't granted, that would require substantial expense to move the box 14 feet. And it would affect our customers that use the box daily. The machine is set back further than the existing restaurant and on the same commercial lot. All other requirements have been met. The special use will be in harmony with the area in which it is located. The ice machine is currently located on a commercial lot and is in line with other retail business in that area. Just like all the business around us, we provide and sell a product and offer a great deal to all customers. We take pride in the neatness and appearance of all our ice box properties. We keep trash up all around our box daily and keep it clean. We have spent roughly $15,000 in upgrades to make our ice boxes look presentable at all times. The special use will not materially endanger the public health or safety if located where proposed and developed according to the plan as submitted and approved. The ice machine has been in operation for 17 months. It is well lit up at night, has visible phone numbers on Icebox if there are any problems. Bright colored ballards are all the way around the box so it is visible when driving through. Haven't had any problems, and it seems convenient to all our customers. We feel that its current location poses no risk. The special use in general conformity with the city's adopted land use plans and policies. We are in conformity with the city's land use plans. We are a vending machine that sells ice at a discounted rate to the public community. We follow the same rules and guidelines as our neighboring businesses. The special use will not substantially injure the value of the abutting land, or the special use is a public necessity, and The icebox doesn't. The ice machine does it and use the value of surrounding land. We feel it enhances the attractiveness to the surrounding businesses. Our existing customers will be customers of the surrounding businesses due to the proximity. And the special use complies with all other relevant city, state, and federal laws and regulations. Yes, the machine has stamped approval plans from an engineer. The plans ensure we are in compliance with all the city, state, and federal law. That is it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank y'all.
All right. Councilmember Green, you had questions for this gentleman? Okay.
Not for him, I'm sorry, for the staff.
Okay. All right. Thanks, sir. You can have a seat. Stay close. You may have a question or two. All right. Councilmember Green.
Mr. Harmon, can I ask a question, please, sir? Can you
ma'am.
kind of walk me through a very quick, maybe, it might not be quick, but maybe we can make it quick. Can you walk me through the process of if I wanted to put an ice house somewhere else, what that looks like in the way of permitting, and after I've done it, or after it's been permitted and approved and I've put it there, what happens next? Do I just open, or is there some staff involvement in going out and checking after I've done it?
Well, these are, they're small, look like a little building almost. So it does have to go through the building permit process. It does not go through TRC typically, unless something unusual because of the size of it. So this would come, they would submit their building plans. Our zoning division would look at those as well. It would go to whichever trades in building are required. There's some refrigeration and electrical and water with this, so they'd go through all that. They would get a CO, just like you get with any building, and then you just open up.
I think that's what I needed to know. Thank you.
All right. Councilmember Hondros.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a three questions. First one I think is for the attorney. City attorney, this application is for a special use permit. It sounds like they're requesting a variance to the setback. So I'm just curious, why was it not a variance to the zoning commission instead of a special use to the council?
I think Madam Attorney is turning toward me for this answer.
Okay.
It's because of the section of the ordinance that this is included in. It's not in one of the sections that you can apply for a variance for. These separation standards, there's a clause in our UDO that in order to, just like ones between a church and some nightclubs or between certain bars, things like that, if they want these separation standards reduced, currently in our ordinance, the only way to do that is through a special use permit.
Between the ice house and what?
The right of way.
Okay.
So that was my next question is that, so this isn't necessarily a setback issue, it's just
It's a separation issue.
So there's no setback from the rear or side yards?
There are, but this is not what we're looking at here. This is just a separation of 100 feet from the right of way.
Yeah, so if you put the site plan back up there, because it looks like it's close to the next parcel. So I'm just curious, there's no side setback from that other parcel?
I believe it's just 5 feet and they're 8 feet off.
They're 8 feet? Okay, and so other than that, the zoning is fine for the use, correct?
Yeah, everything else has been approved and is perfectly fine. And as the representative said, they've been in operation for
17
a little
months.
over a year, yeah.
Okay, I think I'm good, thanks.
All right. Councilmember Green, you had another question?
I'm just prepared to make a motion if we'd like.
All right. Yes.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion that we approve this special use permit to allow the variation, however, let's see, I guess to allow for the reduction in the separation requirement between public street right-of-way and the ice house located at 2726 Rafer Road. Based on finding of fact number 1, the special use complies with the applicable standards, conditions, and specifications as pursuant in the ordinance section 30-4C. And the ice house is 14 feet too close to the right-of-way. Finding of fact number 2, the special use will be in harmony with the area it's located in. It's located in a commercial parking lot and is in among other retail businesses in the area. Finding of fact number 3, the special use will not materially endanger the public health and safety and is located where proposed and developed according to the plan as submitted and approved. It's been operational there for 17 months. Finding fact number 4, the special use is in general conformity with the city's adopted land use plans and policies. Finding of fact number 5, the special use will not substantially injure the value of the abutting land or special use is public necessity, and the ice house does not injure the value of the surrounding property. Finding of fact number 6, the special use complies with all other city-relevant city, state, and federal laws and regulations and complies with all of those ordinances as specified.
All right, it's motion by Councilmember Green, seconded by Councilmember Hare.
Excuse me, Mayor Colvin. Did I miss a fact for finding number 4?
You might have. Finding of fact number 4, the special use is in general conformity with the city's adopted land use plans and policies, and it is in conformity with the land use of commercial property and vending machine as an ice house. And let's see, is that sufficient? Thank you.
All right. This is motion and seconded by Councilmember Hare. Discussion? All right. Look to you for your votes on that.
Green.
All right. All right, motion carries unanimous. Thank you. Mr. Harmon, just for my edification, why is...
Yes, sir.
Mayor?
What's the...
I'm
Yes.
sorry, but Councilmember Thompson isn't able to vote in evidentiary hearings.
Okay. All right. So 7-0, it's still carried. So it's approved, sir. What's the thought process behind making this a part of the UDO between the ice house and the right-of-way outside of the normal setbacks?
I'm not exactly sure. That was done several years ago, I think right about the time the UDO was adopted. But that definitely is one we've thought about looking into a little bit because...
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, from time here, it was because at one time when the ice houses became a thing, there was a proliferation of them everywhere.
Yes.
And there was questions about everything from the blue donation boxes that we looked at. It was everything from the many storage warehouses that now are going up versus just out. And the council at the time felt that there needed to be more consideration for how and where those were placed. And what we're finding, I think, from the applicant who is here, may have just left, is that they're...
I think he's just out of...
Yeah, they are upgrading them, and they are looking a lot different than when they first came about. But if that is something that the council would like us to take a look at, but that was it. It was when they first came out, they were literally on every. every
Well, I just think this is one of those things that the times have changed, and if it's the appearance, that's it. But something like that, I don't think should be a special use permit. But it's done. Thank you, sir. But yeah, if you can, Mr. Manager and UDO Chairman, that's something we need to do. All right. So thank you. All right. Moving to next item, which will be 9.03. Special use to allow for reduction separating between animal care uses and adjoining property.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. Our next one, SUP 2505. This is a property owned by Riddle Properties. and a new entity in town, Houndstown, is looking to move into this location. This is located on Ramsey Street. You'll see in a moment. You may recognize it as the old Cape Fear Drug. It's right beside of Zaxby's on Ramsey. So this gives you a little idea again of where this is. This is Zaxby's here. There's a Starbucks in this part of Ramsey Commons, and this is the other part of Ramsey Commons back here, Fran Cam Drive. Kind of gives you that idea of where we're located, and then Walmart is the big box retail right there. So this is Zone CC Community Commercial. It's our heaviest commercial district. It is looked at for a community center in our land use plan, which again is our highest highest commercial district as well. Just a couple of photos of the existing building. Again, like I said, this used to be Cape Fear Drugs. Some of the surrounding businesses there. And so this is what they're looking to do. So you've got here at the bottom of your screen is the front of the building. So this is the side of the building where the drive-through currently is, and they're looking to fence that area in as their dog run area. So according to the UDO, they're required to have a separation of 75 feet from their dog run to to any adjoining properties. They are at 23 feet from that. Oops. Again, the surrounding area is mostly commercial and heavy commercial on the west side of Ramsey, single family on the other side, but that is separated by a median and 4 lanes of traffic. Again, the animal care use is a permitted use in the CC, with the stipulation that it has that 75-foot separation requirement that they're looking to reduce. We did send out the letters to every property owner within 1,000 feet of that. And as you see in a moment, we don't have anyone here in opposition and did not get any calls from anyone in opposition of this as well. If you have any questions of staff, if you would hold on until after the evidentiary hearing, and we'll be glad to try to answer any at that time.
Thank you, Mr. Harmon. All right, so with that, Madam Clerk.
Mayor, our first speaker is Miss Christy Bennett.
Oh, let me open up this hearing. Ms. Bennett, good to see you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Council. So my name is Christy Bennett, and this is my husband, Eric Allen, and we are the owners of a franchise called Houndstown USA. We are, I'm sorry, I'm a little bit nervous.
It's all right, you're doing fine.
I don't know if most of you know this, but 70% of all households own pets. So that is a ton of pet owners in the area, and we are looking to open the 7th location of Houndstown in the state of North Carolina here in the city of Fayetteville. So we feel the northern part of the city, specifically the Ramsey Street location, could use this service for the residents in that area and beyond that extend into Harnett County and some of the surrounding Eastover areas as well. There are approximately 40,000 cars traveling on Ramsey Street daily, and we are asking for a special use permit to continue our plans to bring this awesome business to the city of Fayetteville. So a little bit about, I'm sorry, how do I? I have a whole presentation. I will shorten this down, but just to give you a little background. We searched for a location for over a year before we decided on this location at 4417 Ramsey Street. Our national brand is not your typical doggy daycare and boarding facility. Our business is modeled around doing it for the dogs, and we have a proven dog management style and excellent training in dog psychology to truly understand the natural pack environment that a dog needs to thrive. As I mentioned, over 40,000 cars traveling Ramsey Street daily. We hope to service the households in the northern part of the city and those who travel from outside who work in Fayetteville. A little bit about ourselves. I have an extensive background in real estate, specifically in new home sales. My knowledge and dedication to exceeding client expectations has earned me a reputation as a trusted and successful professional in the new home sales industry. I'm leaving a very successful and lucrative career to follow my passion, working with animals. My husband, Eric, is a veteran of the United States Navy and remains as an intelligence professional as a federal civilian with the Department of Defense, supporting various special operations worldwide. In his combined time in the United States Navy and the Department of Defense, Eric has served this nation on 7 deployments, totaling 3 years overseas in the most challenging and operational environments. We are actively involved in our local community, members of the Fayetteville Chamber of Commerce. We're partnering with a local Cumberland County Animal Shelter to roll out the Houndstown Seal of Approval program to help increase adoptions and decrease the number of dogs that get euthanized in our county shelter every year. We're also investing a lot of money into leasing a vacant building that has sat vacant for quite a while. Our investment into this project is over $1 million with an SBA loan that is approved, waiting to close with permit approved. Our cash injection of that is $277,000 of our own funds into the project, and we've committed to a 10-year lease with Mr. Riddle and his property management team with 2 options to renew for terms of 5-year each, so a total of 20-year commitment to the city. Wow. We need the special use permit, as Mr. Harmon mentioned. The setback in the UDO, it reads that any outdoor kennel housing animals needs to be 75 feet from a lot line. We are not housing any animals in this space. We don't have an indoor-outdoor run. It is just a area that we're required to have to let the dogs out for short periods of time, supervised play time, 15-minute increments, and that's also weather dependent. So no dogs will ever be outside unattended, and it's not like a boarding facility that's outside. We're an indoor facility. In fact, other houndstowns across the country are not even required to have the outdoor space. This is a city requirement here in Fayetteville. So we have to prove the 6 findings. So the first, there's 4 parts to section 1. The special use complies with all applicable standards, conditions, and specifications in the ordinance, including section 30-4C. Animal shelters and kennels, indoor and outdoor veterinary clinics must comply with the following standards. Section 1, animal care use providing boarding services shall provide a fenced and screened outdoor area of at least 50 square feet per dog. We will meet the fencing and screening requirements by installing an 8-foot vinyl privacy fence designed to limit visibility. Additionally, we can fulfill the requirement for the outdoor area by ensuring at least 50 square feet per boarding dog. Section 2, the animal care use shall be sufficiently insulated so no unreasonable noise or odor can be determined off premise. The building's interior is a standalone structure featuring brick facade, which effectively minimizes sound transfer. The outdoor play area will be enclosed with 8-foot screening to limit visibility, thereby reducing dog noise and promoting a calm environment for the dogs. Additionally, the cleaning procedures established by Houndstown USA are designated to mitigate odors. Section 3, any open runs or pens used to house animals shall be located at least 75 feet from the lot line. This requirement is the reason that we're submitting the special use permit as directed by City Zoning Department. Due to the property's width of approximately 150 feet, it's not possible to meet the 75-foot setback requirement from the lot line on the left side. Additionally, we are not housing any animals outdoors, and we are strictly an indoor boarding and daycare facility. The outdoor space is just a play area for us to take dogs in a small group outside for limited times, typically 15-minute sessions. This is also weather dependent, and no dogs will be left outside supervised. Section 4, accessory uses to indoor kennel may include retail space and grooming services as long as the accessory uses do not occupy more than 25% of the total gross floor area. All retail sales and grooming services will be under the occupancy of 25% of the total gross floor area. Finding number 2, the special use will be in harmony with the area in which it's located. The proposed fence area will be designed to complement the building's feature while providing the necessary screening for the dog play area. Additionally, the fence will be further obstructed by existing trees and shrubbery of a natural buffer that's already existing, which will serve to separate the Houndstown space from the rear alley of the neighboring business. Finding 3, the special use will not materially endanger the public health or safety if located where proposed and developed according to the plan as submitted and approved. All materials used in constructing the screening fence will be of Class A workmanship and professionally manufactured. Additionally, we have accounted for the need to maintain a fire lane and ensure access to all utilities throughout the property. Finding 4, the special use is in general conformity with the city's adopted land use plans and policies. The screening fence is a city-mandated requirement and will be installed in compliance with all standards established by the code. Finding 5, the special use will not substantially injure the value of any abutting land or special use or is a public necessity. We believe that the installation of screening fence will neither negatively impact property values nor create a public nuisance. Additionally, we are keeping the current aesthetic of the building and reusing the existing overhang and drive-through for the outdoor area. And finding number 6, the special use complies with all other relevant city, state, and federal laws and regulations. The proposed fence and screening will adhere to all applicable city, state, and federal laws and regulations contingent upon the approval of the reduction of the 75-foot setback requirement from the lot line on the left side. Additionally, we have met with Elizabeth Garner with the North Carolina Department of Agriculture, who did a site visit and inspection and reviewed and discussed our plans and sent us a report stating that all plans discussed are within the Animal Welfare Act regulation and in compliance with their standards. This is the existing drive-through, the buffer that's there. There's dumpsters behind it with metal structure housing the dumpsters. So that can kind of give you an idea of what is next to us. This is the proposed outdoor play area, approximately 24.5 feet from the fence to the lot line, about 21.5 feet from the building to the curbing before that buffer area. And again, backing up to an existing drive-through with metal dumpsters with a component around the dumpsters. This is an example of the type of fencing that the brand standard requires in an existing outdoor area in another location. And then this is our site plan. I think Mr. Harmon had a much better site plan that we could share on a different screen. I apologize for the blurry picture. And just a little bit about Houndstown. We were founded in 2000 by New York Police Department canine handler Michael Gould. With Houndstown USA, we are an affordable and refreshingly straightforward approach to pet care with no hidden fees or extra service charges or add-ons. So with that, I would be finished with my presentation, open it up for any questions that you may have for us or about our business.
All right, thank you. If you can just have a seat close by, just in case. All right, Councilwoman Hare, I saw your button.
No, sir, that's
All right, Councilman Benavente.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm prepared to make a motion to approve, and we've got some evidence that's been presented that I will use to complete the required evidentiary components.
Close the public hearing. Were there any more speakers, Madam Clerk?
Mr. Eric Allen, if you need.
You took care of his part.
Yeah, we just weren't sure if we could speak together or separately, but we covered it all.
Gotcha. That's how it works in most households. All right, so with that, I'll close it. Councilman Benavente.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that we approve the special use permit. And as far as the factual findings for component 1, The special use permit complies with all applicable standards because of fencing requirements that were presented, that were about that 8 foot and sufficient square footage as well was stated for the animals. For component 2, the special use will be in harmony with the area that's located because it's a commercial zone where it would otherwise been permitted. I think there was evidence that was shared regarding soundproofing efforts as well as cleanliness standards that were articulated. Especially the component 3, the special use will not materially endanger the public health or safety if located there because it is not adjacent to any residential areas. Cleanliness standards were outlined as well, and there would be monitoring of any animals outside. And component number 4, the special use is in general conformity with the city's adopted land use plans because of the screening fence that is being adhered to. And number 6, are we on number 6 yet? Or number 5? The special use will not substantially injure the value of abutting land because existing components of the building will continue to be utilized. And finally, the special use complies with all relevant city and federal laws because it was articulated that experts were consulted with and spoke to the compliance with federal legal standards.
All right. There's a motion by Councilmember Benavente, seconded by Councilmember Green. Discussion on the motion? There was a second? Yes. Okay. Any discussion on the motion to approve? All right, Council, I'll look to you for your votes. Councilmember Thompson? Oh, yeah, okay. All right, carries 9-0. Congratulations. Good luck to you all. And Mr. Chairman of UDO, and Mr. Hewitt, can you look and see why we require something that other places don't require in this item? It's another cleanup item. I didn't hear you. Okay, thanks. All right. All right, so moving to other items, 10.01 is the quarterly report for the Cool Springs Downtown District. Where did she go, Ms. Ashante? Yeah, there she is. All right. Good evening.
Hello. Good evening, everybody. Mr. Mayor, Council, thank you for having me here tonight. Yep. Hi, everybody. My name is Ashanti Bennett. I am the interim president and CEO for the Cool Spring Downtown District. We are your arts and entertainment district managers as well as your municipal services district managers. And just here to share with you some of the highlights from our third quarter report. In our economic development arm, we welcomed 5 new businesses to downtown, a counseling and wellness cafe, a beauty salon, a social lounge, Mondrell's, which if you haven't been, you absolutely should go. I just went the other week, and it is a wonderfully adorable space. I need to go when they have some live music. Crew Studios, another photo studio, and if you've seen Zoe Noel's Princess Spa, if you've got littles in your life, it's an adorable space, and they have taken on an additional event space to expand that business. So that was a new business about a year ago, and now they are expanding further into the downtown. That brings us to a total of 17 new businesses that we have for this last year, with 2 big ones coming on board. You've probably seen the posts and seen some of the excitement building for Soul's Arcade and Tap Room. They should be having their grand opening very, very soon, as well as Southern Pines Brewing Company right there on Hay Street. That project was supposed to come online a while ago. I've been waiting to go and have some of my favorite beers there, but it looks like they are finally at a place where they will be opening soon as well, and we will keep you posted when that grand opening is happening. As for other projects that we have underway, the Ammons infill project, which has been under construction for some months now, is looked to be completed. I just walked down the street the other day. This is a sort of angled photo, but if you look at it, get a chance to walk over there and look very closely. It is a beautiful project, particularly some of the brick pattern that's in the front and near some of those balcony spaces. And for the longest time, that was just sort of a hole in the ground. And so now we have this beautiful building that's going to be opening soon. I should have some updates as to when that date is going to be. But hopefully it will be in the next month or two, I do believe. And of course, our Crown Performing Arts Center that broke ground back in the fall. As the Arts and Entertainment District Manager, we are very excited for that one to come online and drive past there often just to see whatever the new progress has been in that space. Some of the, that's a total of 263,400 square foot worth of projects that are underway in downtown right now. That represents a $183.1 million private and public investment. Our vacancy rates for downtown went down about 1%, 1.1% in the last quarter. The asking rate for, market rate for rents went up about 2.1%. So there is some growth and some movement. We had a little bit of a slowdown earlier in the year, but this last quarter has definitely shown some improvement, and I anticipate further improvement before we finish out the year. We've had some visitation. Our numbers are, again, we've been in this sort of post-COVID sort of space, and I think a lot of our numbers are coming back to where they are. You will see that there is a sort of year-to-year, a little bit lower, about 4.3%. But I can tell you, we sort of looked at some numbers recently based off of all of our festivals coming back and some other larger events that are happening in the downtown, and I anticipate that those numbers will return to those post-COVID numbers probably within this next quarter, if not in the beginning of the next year. Some other great things that we've been doing downtown, you may or may not know, for folks in the audience, that downtown Fayetteville manages a shared waste management program called Clean and Safe, and that includes a grouping of different trash compactors, recycling, cardboard recycling, in order to reduce the number of roll carts, individual roll carts that we have for businesses. We were very excited in the fall to open a new compactor and recycling center on Otis Jones Parkway behind what you know to be the Taste of West Africa and the Volta building. And largely we chose that location in anticipation of the Performing Arts Center coming and some increased waste management and cleanliness activities that would happen on that street and in the Gillespie Street area. We've had about 8 new users for that. Experienced some technical difficulties not long after it was installed, and it ended up having to get a new piece of equipment, but I actually just tested it myself last week, and it is ready to go. So we have all of those new businesses that are on the Person Street corridor, some users that are on the Bow Street corridor, and getting some of the folks that are on Gillespie and that particular area of Franklin Street to begin to buy into that so that we can keep that area as clean as we possibly can and welcoming for our visitors. In addition to that, we also have the Safety and Engagement Ambassador Program that we manage. So many of you have seen the guys walking around. That is Adam Carroll and John Ward in the orange shirts.
Not with those heels on, though.
Not with those heels on, no. They would kill me if they were here and they knew I put that on there. But that was during the Walk a While in Her Shoes charity event. And I sort of made the joke, like, you guys, you know, if you want to keep working, you got to do it. But I was just kidding with them. And they both went and signed up on their own. So there they are in lockstep. And I kind of chose this picture, one, because they're in heels and it's hilarious, but also I think it's a really good example of how lockstep those two are. They are a real team, and they manage to make sure that our downtown is as safe and as friendly and as welcoming as it can be. Adam is a part-time employee with us. We brought John on shortly after New Year's. Actually, we sort of christened him with New Year's, and he came back. So we are hoping to be able to bring him on as a full-time employee shortly in the next quarter, and want to continue to expand that program. Our merchants absolutely love this program. They have both of their phone numbers. These gentlemen go out. They are doing safety escorts. They have jumped people's batteries. They have done just about anything and everything that you can on the streets of downtown for our visitors, our residents, and our workers. If you need something, you can ask them. If they can't do it for themselves, they are absolutely happy to try to figure that out for you. In addition to that, they are responsible for maintaining the public realm, so they will keep the hurley pots looking nice and keeping those clean, keeping those plants looking healthy and flourishing, even during our winter months, cleaning our light poles, cleaning up copious amounts of trash throughout the city. There's not much that these guys are not sort of up for doing. They take an incredible amount of pride in their job. So I would also ask, if you see one of them walking around in the orange shirts, just tell them thank you, that they're doing a good job, because cleaning up trash and doing some of the things that they do, it's not entirely, a thankful job. And so that'd be nice and really a good boost for them. But they are an incredible part of our team, and we would love to continue to expand that program. This is just a brief list here, and I won't read them all to you, but part of our contract with you all is to make sure that we are marketing our downtown and branding that space and making sure that people know all of the things that are happening in downtown. And these are just some of the media contracts and places where we advertise everything that is happening in downtown Fayetteville, including City View Magazine, our Greater Freight Business Journal, and many of the publications where we all get our news from. We do have some of our social media. We maintain Facebook pages, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. I'm sure that I'm forgetting some others, but Lauren is probably bearing into my brain right now. Sorry, Lauren. But anywhere and everywhere that we can possibly get information out about programs, services, and activities that are happening in downtown, we are making sure that Cool Spring Downtown District, and thus downtown Fayetteville, has a presence. Some of the things that people know us for, which is not fun things like waste management, people know for the events that happen downtown. We host any number of events monthly, cumulatively throughout the year. We host about 50 to 60 different events. Some of our most recent was our Hopping Around Downtown, where we bring out the Easter Bunny, have them out there greeting folks, giving out candy, hiding the golden eggs. Some folks are very, very quick at finding those, so we're going to buy a lot more eggs next year, because that Easter egg hunt goes very, very quickly. But everybody enjoys it. It's family friendly. The whole family can come out and spend the whole day. And luckily for us, we've had some very beautiful weather on these events, and so it draws out a significant amount of foot traffic. We've also just recently brought back our Fourth Friday series, and if you didn't have an opportunity to come out this last Friday, where we had that beautiful 68-degree weather, there was a nice breeze, we had a DJ, with the help of my colleague Lawrence Halls, who is absolutely amazing at what she does. We turn downtown into a street festival every month, March through October. I'm sincerely hoping we have similar weather for June, but I do not hold out much hope. So May was a really good time for everyone. And then some of our the things that I'm very focused on for, the next 16 or 17 days is our 2025 Juneteenth Jubilee. We are incredibly excited about our headlining talent. We have North Carolina performer Reese Palmer, who is coming. She is a country soul performer. If you are not familiar with her, I highly suggest that you get onto your Spotify playlist or wherever you get your music and take a listen. Same goes for recent Grammy winners Tank and the Bangas. Tank is a small lady with a mighty, mighty voice. She incorporates spoken word and, just has a real soulful sound to her. We're really, really very lucky and very excited that we're going to have them on the stage for the upcoming Juneteenth. It's not all that we will have there, though. We will actually be opening the day with a repeat of an event that you may be familiar with, which is 100 Black professional women in black. They are going to be doing their Juneteenth edition photo shoot on the stage there just prior to doors opening on that day, which is June 14th on Saturday, 3 to 9 p.m. in Festival Park. As always, we will be incorporating education into the event. We want people to know why they're out there celebrating. And so we always have our roaming historians with their Ask Me About Juneteenth shirts on. We host a history trolley, which may or may not be on an actual trolley this year. We have been owners and operators of 2 Molly trolleys for the last few years, but we have in fact sold one of those trolleys to a museum in New Jersey and have a potential buyer for our second one. So we will see if we still have that in 2 weeks, but if we don't, we will still actually have the tour. It will just be on a different vehicle. And we have that tour that's curated in partnership with Nicole Young, who is at FSU as an archivist. She is an amazing partner for us, and we're actually really excited because this year she will be physically leading the tour, not just curating for us. So if you know Nicole, you know that she knows anything and everything to do with our local history, and if I wasn't actually working the event, I would be very tempted to hop on there and pick her brain. So if you do get an opportunity to do that, I would highly suggest it. We'll also be partnering with the J19 Unity Group so that we can host Miss Juneteenth Fayetteville for this year. We did a little bit of that, incorporated them last year, but this year we actually formalized that partnership. I know that in Mayor Pro Tem, you are a pageant lady, so I expect that you will be out there.
So where's Mr. Juneteenth? Where's that?
We're going to have to start that pageant, sir. I don't know. Go for it, Mr. Mayor. And as always, we're going to have our vendors, our food trucks. We're going to have art. We are going to have performances. We have local community groups that will also be coming out on the stage. We really do try to design this event so that there is something for everyone, for all of our families coming out, multi-generations. Everyone in Fayetteville is welcome and invited to come out to this event to celebrate what I think of as one of our most American holidays as we celebrate the final end to slavery in this country. And I think that an opportunity for our community to come together and in unity and celebrate agency and our legacy is one of the best things that we could possibly do to bring folks together. So I'm very excited for it. If anybody has an ear with the weather gods, though, please, we kind of fried like bacon last year, so I'd like it just be a few degrees cooler. That would be ideal. And then lastly, other activities that have just been happening for us. As folks may be aware, my predecessor, Bianca Schoeneman, cruelly left us back in January, but we have been in an ongoing executive search since that time, while I've been sitting in that interim role. We will be making a selection on a new candidate within the next week and anticipate that they will be able to start sometime in July. We have candidate interviews. They have run through an incredibly thorough assessment with our consultant, developmental associates. We just had a 4-hour meeting going over all the data from that assessment. And I am not being paid at all to plug them, but I will tell you, if you have to do something similar, I do believe they're working with the city for some work in the police department. That is one of the most thorough processes I've seen for vetting a candidate without you being able to physically meet them face to face. I feel like I have such a great understanding of who these people are and what their understanding is of our community and the work that we do in downtown. And so I feel very confident that we will be able to bring you and introduce to you a candidate that is going to take the work that we have done for the last few years here at Cold Spring and really just continue to take us into that future that we envision for our city. That's it.
All right. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Bennett. May have a question or two. I see Councilman Benavente, and then I had a question.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor Colvin. President Bennett, you were talking about the downtown ambassadors for a good minute there and all the work that they do.
Mm-hmm.
What can we do specifically to enhance that ambassador program?
We have sort of a running wish list, and Adam was actually going to try to make some time to come tonight, but unfortunately he was not able to make it. I think that there are some low-hanging sort of fruit things that we can do to get them some training, particularly as it pertains to their safety on the street. I think as more and more folks know who they are and come to rely on them for certain services, they're a lot more visible than they were when the program sort of started. And so that's both good for the people who need them, but it also allows them to stand out more for some of our folks on, for instance, some of our homeless neighbors out there. It targets them in a little bit of a different way. So I would be interested in a discussion with both of our ambassadors. I believe that they have some ideas of just very simple safety things that they could do. So some of those trainings would be ideal for them. And ultimately, I think the best thing for that program is whatever opportunity that we have to be able to expand it and add to those numbers would be fantastic. As I mentioned, I'd like to be able to bring John on full-time, so we have 2 full-time folks, and that is 7-day-a-week coverage. And it would be very ideal if we were able to bring on at least another part-time, if not another full-time employee, so that we can rotate their schedules, following the data that we pull of sort of high traffic times, whether it's a weekend or a weekday, and really just sort of align that schedule with the needs of the downtown.
And then second question, have you been consulted about some changes that City Council intends to make to requirements for event producers regarding clear bag policies and additional security requirements?
Yes, had a meeting with the city manager just last week. We were able to have some discussion about some of the ideas that council has discussed regarding that safety. As I mentioned to Mr. Hewitt when we had that meeting, a fair number of the items that have come up are things that Cold Spring has already enacted for our large-scale events, but we have already begun to shift our marketing and expand that a little bit just to make sure that we are promoting that as clearly to the public as possible, with the big shift being making sure we emphasize the clear bags, though we do have a full list of prohibited items that we always post for those events. But if there are any further discussions or things that have come up, as Cool Spring, we are always happy to engage in those conversations and offer whatever insights that we can to help you all make the best decision.
Yeah, I assumed that we were being pretty redundant when we recommended a lot of those things. My biggest concern, though, is with potential costs that you, not just you, but all other event producers are going to incur depending on some security enhancements that we're demanding. So at the appropriate time, I hope that you and your team will be vocal about what that looks like, because I don't think anyone's against enhancing those security measures, but we want to make sure it doesn't price you and other event producers out from being able to do the kind of work you're doing. And Mr. Mayor, I would just like an opportunity to make a motion at the appropriate time regarding the ambassador program to either put things on the parking lot. But I'll wait for that opportunity.
All right, thanks, sir. And that was my question. I remember last year I brought to council to put some extra funding in the budget for the ambassador program. I didn't really see a big expansion. I heard you say one of these were full-time and one's part-time, which I remember was the case last year. So did you get any additional funding from the city for the expansion of your ambassador program?
So when we received that funding, we were able to take the part-time employee and make him full-time. And so we had 2 part-time employees at that time. So with the funding that we are getting, we are going to be able to have the 2 full-time employees, and that will happen actually probably in the next week or so, in time for the next fiscal.
All right, so let me make sure I'm tracking. So when we approved the budget for July 1 of last year, you were able to take 2 part-timers and make 1 full-time, 1 part-time.
I was able to take one part-timer and make him full-time and then bring on the part-time employee. So we now have one full-time and one part-time person, where we had 2 part-time people before.
How much was that?
I do not have that number right in front
What was
of
it,
me,
Mr. Hewitt?
Mayor,
Was it
sorry.
100,000, 50,000?
It was not 100,000. I do know that.
Okay.
It was not 100,000. We also utilized some of those funds to purchase equipment for the ambassadors. We were able to use some of those funds to match a fundraising that we did in order to purchase the golf cart that we had and some of the additional equipment that they need in order to complete their job.
Okay, gotcha. And kind of a follow-up on the policy. When the Dogwood Festival happens, Dogwood has its own organization that leads that effort. What is Cool Springs' role in that? It's just collaboration, or you all just share the footprint?
In collaboration with the Dogwood Festival, is that your question?
So you don't have any operational control over when the Dogwood Festival happens?
We do not. The Dogwood Festival is its own separate
right.
entity. We share a building. We're neighbors, so
Gotcha.
we're friendly neighbors.
So
but
Dogwood Festival and other things happen that Cool Spring is not operationally in charge of. So
Correct.
therefore, your implementation of a bag policy is a decision made by your board to do it. Ours is the law
Right.
and the standard. So it will be followed by Cool Springs or Dogwood or whomever, that this is the standard here. So I think that's the distinction, that it's not redundancy. It's basically given a standard or a guideline to say if you're going to do this within the city, it's going to have these safety mechanisms a part of it. So we do appreciate you all leaning into that. I just wanted to make that distinction because you do it, but it doesn't necessarily mean that others are doing the same thing. But we do appreciate
That is correct.
what you're doing. All right. So, Council, I'll go back to Councilman Benavente.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that we take a consensus of council to support Cool Springs in additional trainings for their ambassador program, and then move their 1.5 person personnel to 3 full-time.
Well, I think there's. I don't know that we can tell them what to do. Are you saying
she
that?
asked for.
Well, she said that's her wish list, but it still has a budgetary component that I'm sure she doesn't have. What's the total cost of 3 full-time FTEs? You don't have all that, I'm sure.
I mean, if I were to estimate that, I would say for 3 full-time employees, that would be about $120,000 to $130,000 expenditure.
Right.
That's
But
incredibly inexpensive.
But it's thereabout. So I don't think there's an effort problem. I'm just clearing up procedurally. So there's 1 to receive the report for tonight. There's 2, I think what you said is to add to the parking lot as a part of the bigger budget discussion. You're trying to allocate and appropriate money in the same process?
So we've already done this previously where we don't have the specifics, just like with the curfew, for example, but you guys know that
not a budgetary
but
reduction.
you guys know generally the direction you want to direct people. No matter the specifics, no matter the facts, you know what you want at the end. So I'm saying I think we know what we want at the end of the day. We want enhanced security in our downtown. We know that police can't do it alone. We know that our ambassador program has been incredibly successful with 1 full-time person and a part-time person. Imagine if they had 3 full-time people. So no matter how much it costs, we will get to that dollar figure. So far, even at its most rough estimate, it sounds incredibly reasonable and affordable. I'm saying that we do like we do whenever we feel like we want to, which is start with the ending first. 3 full-time people doing the ambassador program and appropriate training that they're seeking. That's my motion. Someone else can make the motion to adopt to receive the report. That's the easy part. I think the thing that shows that we really care about our downtown safety is if we commit right now to 3 full-time staff members in the ambassador program and the appropriate training.
All right. So the measure twice, cut once is just a quote. I got you, but there's a motion. Let me see if I got a second. Then I'll come back. All right, hold on. Okay. So there's a motion. Is there a second for that to do that without as described? I'll put it that way. All right. Brenda didn't raise her hand. All right. Motion dies. Is lack of a second. All right, Councilman Mayor.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor. I want to make sure I'm also clear on what our interim chair was just speaking on. Was it not said that by our city manager that we had given you an upgrade of funding which allowed you to take that part-time person to a full-time person and also hire another part-time person? Did I understand that correctly?
Yes, this program, when it was a pilot program, started out with one part-time employee, and since then, we have been able to make that part-time employee full-time and to be able to bring on a part-time person.
And wasn't that because of the additional funding?
That was
That-
partially due to
and our
the
last
additional
budget?
funding from the city and some funds that we received from Cumberland County
I
as
just want
well.
to make sure I understood that. All right, thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
All right. Councilmember McNair?
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor, I just want to make a motion to receive the report tonight.
All right. There's a motion by Councilmember McNair, seconded by Councilmember Davis. Discussion. All right, Council, I'll look to you for your action. Councilmember
Green.
Thompson. Okay. All right, motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Bennett. That was 60,000 is what it was, but I think we do support the expansion of that because we envisioned it as growing to be able to not necessarily do anything that's police or security related, but it just welcomes people to let them know that they're being welcomed to the community. So thank you for that, and your team that wore the high heels, but they need some new shoes. Okay. All right.
Yes, thank you.
All right, thank
Have a
you.
good night.
All right. So, Council, moving to 10.02, UDO Council Committee. I'll go to the chairman. Chairman Hondros. He's pointing at somebody. Is that Ms. Strickland? Come on down.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. How do we follow Cool Spring Downtown District? That's a tough one. We have a lengthy meeting. I know you guys don't want to hear me talk, so I'll try to go through this quickly. You can stop me with questions whenever. For the last 6 months or more, it's been our honor, the UDO committee, to serve in that capacity. The members are myself, Councilmember Green, Mayor Pro Tem Jensen, and the mayor. In the last 6 months, PwC staff presented information on water and sanitary sewer connection fees, or also known as TAP fees. City of Fayetteville Public Services staff discussed the overview of stormwater requirements for developments within the city. City of Fayetteville Chief Building Official gave us a demonstration of the permitting and inspections portions of the development portal or IDT portal. Urban Planning Consultants presented the results of their review of our sign ordinance, and City of Fayetteville planning staff provided peer city comparison data for signage regulations with our peer cities. We also reviewed standards for duplexes, triplexes, and quadruplexes, which resulted in adoption of a text amendment to the UDO at our April 14th meeting last month, regularly scheduled council meeting, which now allows these dwelling types by right in SF6 and SF10 zoning districts. If you recall previously, they required a special use permit. And we also reviewed higher density, peer city comparison of higher density zoning classifications. And then most recently, City of Fayetteville planning staff compiled a presentation of peer city information on higher density zoning classifications and development incentives offered by municipalities. And also the committee considered impacts of sidewalk standards in the city's development climate. And of all that work over the last 6 months or so, we have 2 recommendations for council tonight. The first is to receive the development incentives presentation by staff, which is, as we all know, development incentives are a valuable tool by which municipalities can encourage growth. So we recommend that the full council receive that presentation at our June work session. And the second recommendation for this evening, the committee's identified 2 potential revisions or amendments to the development standards for sidewalks, and we recommend adding them to the Planning Commission, the City of Fayetteville's Planning Commission's June 17th agenda for a public hearing. And if approved by the Planning Commission, we propose that the amendments would be placed on our June 23rd regular scheduled council meeting for our council public hearing. With that, I will take any questions I'm prepared to make a motion to receive the report and approve the recommendations by the committee.
All right. Madam, ACM, you have so I think, Mr. Chairman, you've passed out this slide. Were they going to put that on the screen, or is this something we read?
It was on the screen.
Oh, as you were reading it? Okay. All right. All right, Council, any comments or questions regarding this? Mr. Chairman, I think this is this is great work. I know you and committee members have, because it's tough. It's a 700-page document that
Yes, sir.
changes. We saw 2 or 3 samples tonight of how dates change, customs change, the growth of the city changes, so the document has to change. Tell me about your future plans after you make this check-in. Are there other things that you and the committee will be working on to make development more attractive and easier?
Yes, sir. Just like tonight, those items will be on a future agenda, as well as there was one item in the May meeting that we didn't get to, so that's automatically on next month's agenda. I don't remember off the top of my head what that item was, but there was something we ran out of time.
Ice house separation?
It was not that, but we'll put that on in June or July, June or August.
And making the developer have to paint the fire hydrant that doesn't belong to them a certain specific color. Pet code.
Question, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Just a quick question, Mr. Mayor, for Councilman Hondros. I think everybody knows I'm a stickler when it comes to sidewalks. Did that amendment change have anything to do with sidewalks around schools?
No, sir. That was the 2 that we want the Planning Commission to look at, because I think what you're referring to is in our walkability or transport plan. We're looking at industrial properties as well as NCDOT roadway improvement projects.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Mr. Chairman, I don't see any other questions. Do you want to make the motion?
Yes, sir. I move that we receive the report and approve the recommendations of the committee as presented.
All right, there's a motion by Councilmember Hondros. Is there a second by Mayor Pro Tem? All right, question? Councilmember Harris?
Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Chairman, as I look at the IDT portal demonstration, and if I'm off balance with this, please correct me. Well, one of the concerns that I hear occasionally is our portal in general when it comes through, through inspections and permits, and trying to make it easier for builders to fill out and understand. Is that what the IDT portal is? Because I just received, Assistant Manager, I just received maybe a couple of weeks ago that when someone came, they said they tried it online and it didn't work out too good for them. So I suggested that they come downtown, which we have made it so much more convenient now from the front to the rear. I really like those improvements. Tell me what those improvements were and how much easier is it for builders or maybe just regular lay folk that may need to get a permit. I think, what's the amount? If it passes 30,000 or 40,000,
40.
Is it 40 now? Okay, 40,000. How easy it is for them to fill that out, and then if it doesn't work, how does it work when they come downtown?
Thank you, sir, for that question. I'll be glad to elaborate and let you know what all we have done recently. So again, we moved our whole development center up to the front lobby, whereas it previously was in the back of City Hall. We have permit techs who sit at the ready to help take payments and issue permits, help walk you through the IDT portal. We have our development center manager, Alex Magana, who is on board and in the front at all times when City Hall is open to also assist with that, and also for folks who need a little bit more one-on-one attention. Alex is there to provide that for the portal and how to get into the portal if you have folks who are not very tech savvy.
Correct.
Yes,
Correct.
sir.
And these people weren't, yeah.
Alex spends a lot of time one-on-one with folks, giving them some tutelage in that. But we have found on several occasions that folks who were struggling with it on their own, once they came in and got that one-on-one attention, that they really developed a great appreciation for the portal and use it exclusively. We don't even see them in City Hall anymore. We also have sitting at the front, around on the side, the booth for our construction liaison, who will help any person
That
who
was going to
walks
be a
in.
question. Yes, thank you.
Yes, sir. If you have a question about whether or not you need a permit for a project, whether it's you're a homeowner who's wanting to do some DIY improvements, our construction liaison position is sitting in the window and always available to help. And then we also have our development services ombudsman manager liaison. I know I'm butchered that about as good as I could possibly butcher it.
Yeah, you cut it up pretty good.
But Miss Jennifer Baptiste,
Oh, yeah, she's good.
yes, she is excellent. And she focuses on really big issues like big developments who want to come to town, providing that white glove service of walking them through every single step in our process. She sits in on TRC on Wednesday morning and identifies projects that she could assist with, in addition to folks that we might, as other members of staff, refer to her.
So there's plenty help now, and even more improving help through our IDT portal demonstration, right? So I guess the demonstration will, like, you can click on it and it will kind of demonstrate. Is that what I'm thinking of, or?
We offer one-on-one help. If
Okay,
you call and you want us to walk you through the screens, if you come down and you want us to pull it up, we'll show you how. If I can use the portal, anybody can. I'm not the most technology savvy person. I see the side eye there, sir. But it is very easy to use, very informative. And a lot of times when I get calls and questions about particular projects, I'll just pull it up in IDT anymore. I do go back to staff and confirm that what I'm reading and understanding is correct, but it's very easy to use.
Yeah, and thank you. And thank you, Mayor. And I know you want to move on, but there's one more thing I want to just push because this is such a big issue for folk. So loud and clear on public, I like to say on public TV, it is very important if you're going to be doing any type of repairs or home improvements at your house, come downtown first to see if you need a permit.
Absolutely.
Because I've had several meetings with people down here that did not purchase a permit. It got flagged and it had to come down, and all of that can be supported either downtown or through the IDT portal.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Absolutely. Through our website, you can call us. You can show up in the front lobby. We're here to help in any way we can.
Thank you.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
can I have one follow-up for either Ms. Strickland or Councilman Hondros?
Yes, sir.
It's back to the sidewalks. There's a lot of development going in the southwest part of Fayetteville with DOT. DOT is putting sidewalks currently down on Gillis Hill Road, Strickland Bridge Road, so forth and so on, with the anticipation that development is coming. Will this ordinance help to make sure that we connect sidewalks to sidewalks so we don't have no dead spaces in between?
Well, I think not in this particular action. What this is saying, if there are industrial sites that meet specific criteria, like they voluntarily annex and different things like that in this case, that some of those exceptions will prevent that. It'll prevent something that's detached from pedestrian traffic 10 miles out, having a sidewalk that goes from property line to property line and then stopping, which is probably more confusing. So I don't know that gets it, but I hope that you and I'm like you, I'm passionate on the sidewalk. The same way we require property owners to put it in front of their development, in front of their property.
Correct.
We need to make sure that the city matches that, right? So if a developer has to put it in front of their property, wherever that is, the city should match it to the next corner or something, just like we did street paving. You know, we were patching roads for the site, and then we made a conscious decision to patch them from corner to corner, to do the whole street instead of patching. I think that's the only way we're going to get caught up, because right now the onus is on the private developer or property owner, and their interest is just to put the sidewalk from curve to curve of their property, which leaves those gaps that you talk about until the next person comes in. So if the city requires it of us, I think we should make it a city policy to match that. But that could be a way to catch up with it.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Councilman Hondros, I'll go back to you. Well, there's a motion on the floor that you've made. There were questions, there was discussion. Council, I'll look to you for your votes to receive this report and to make the changes.
Green.
All right. All right. And who are we missing? Oh, Thompson's green. All right. So, all right. Motion carries. Thank you, madam.
You're welcome.
All right. All right, council, moving to item 10.03, the adoption of the Youth Protection Safety Ordinance. Madam Attorney, as you know, the council at the conclusion of a special meeting made a consensus as a board to draft this ordinance. There was something about the statute that said that the adoption and the presentation couldn't be simultaneous, and that's why we're back tonight for the adoption. It was presented the following meeting from the special meeting, so this is actually the third consecutive meeting about it. But tonight you want to kind of explain to council what is before us and what our options are.
Yes, sir, Mayor Colvin, Mayor and Council. As the mayor mentioned, at the special meeting on May 5th, Council authorized this Youth Protection Safety Ordinance. The direction at that time was to use the City of Charlotte's ordinance to model Fayetteville's ordinance, and that is what staff did. At Council's May 12th meeting, Council was introduced to, and the public was introduced to the ordinance. And so it's 168-175 that states that if there is a criminal penalty in an ordinance, that you can't adopt it on the same night or time that the ordinance is introduced. And so last time it was introduced, and now it's before you today for adoption. Aaron Sweeney, police attorney, will come up to discuss just the text of the ordinance.
Good evening, Ms. Sweeney, attorney.
Good evening, Mayor, members of City Council. If I have just one moment to get to the beginning. As stated, I'm Aaron Sweeney, the attorney assigned to the Fayetteville Police Department, and I'm here to provide a brief overview of the contents of the Youth Protection Safety Ordinance. This ordinance is going to be found in the City Code, Section 17-34. The purpose of this ordinance is to establish a curfew for juveniles 16 years of age and under, with the restricted hours being from 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. First, I'd like to start with a few definitions. I won't read all of them. I will just highlight the ones that would appear most in this presentation, starting with direct route, which will be the shortest reasonable path of travel or a commonly used route to reach a final destination. Emergency would be an unforeseen combination of circumstances that calls for immediate action. If we can skip down to guardian, a person who is court-appointed to be the guardian of a juvenile. Again, a juvenile being a person 16 years of age and under. And remain, which would mean to linger or stay in a public place, or a failure to leave the premises when requested to do so by a police officer or the owner or operator or employee of an establishment. Under this ordinance, there are 5 general violations. The first being, of course, when a juvenile is in a public space without a legal basis during the restricted hours. Again, those restricted hours being from 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. Second, when a parent or guardian knowingly permits or allows, through insufficient control, the juvenile to be out in the public place during the restricted hours without a legal basis. Third, when the owner, operator, or employee of an establishment knowingly permits a juvenile to remain on the premises during restricted hours. And the term knowingly has come up twice. In just a moment, I'll further elaborate on that term. Fourth, when someone 17 years of age or older aids and abets a juvenile to be out in the public space without a legal basis during the restricted hours. And again, legal basis will be covered as well. And finally, when a parent or guardian refuses to take custody of the juvenile during the restricted hours. In terms of knowingly, per the ordinance, when dealing with a parent or guardian, it will be the knowledge that a parent or guardian should reasonably be expected to have concerning the whereabouts of a juvenile in that person's legal custody. And this is going to be an objective test. Would a parent or guardian reasonably have known that the juvenile was out in public during the restricted hours? One of the questions that could be asked in determining this objective test is whether or not this is a one-off event or a pattern of behavior. And if it is a pattern of behavior, have any actions been taken by the parent or guardian to address that behavior? In terms of the owner or operator or employee of a business, again, it is an objective standard. Would a reasonable person in that operator or employee's position know that the juvenile was in violation of the ordinance? And this can be determined by looking at the steps the establishment has taken to verify the ages of patrons inside during the restricted hours. Now, there are exceptions to the curfew that would allow juveniles to be out during the restricted hours. First, of course, would be whether or not the juvenile is with their parent or guardian. Second would be if they're accompanied by an adult 21 years of age or older with the permission of the parent or guardian, and this would need to be for a designated time frame and area. Third would be running an errand for the parents if they are on the direct route, once again meaning the shortest reasonable path of travel, until 11:30 p.m. If they're in a motor vehicle with parental consent traveling through the city. If they are traveling in a motor vehicle with an adult 21 years of age or older, again with parental consent for a designated period of time and purpose within a specified area. If they're engaged in lawful employment or getting to and from work using, again, that direct route. If they're reacting or responding to an emergency being an unforeseen set of circumstances. I believe this one has been discussed quite a bit. Attending or traveling along a direct route to and from official school, religious, recreational activities, supervised by an adult and sponsored by either a school, city, or other government agency. This would be the exception where sports and recreational activities would fall under. If the juvenile is exercising their First Amendment rights, if the juvenile is married or emancipated, if the juvenile has received permission from the chief of police or their designee. The evidence of this would be through a written permit that is issued by the chief of police or his designee. And finally, if the chief of police has temporarily authorized extending the curfew for no longer than an hour after an activity that needed the extension is over. Essentially, this exception is talking about situations where it's not practical or feasible to issue individual permits for juveniles so possibly a citywide activity. In terms of enforcement provision in the ordinance, the first step of an officer's investigation after establishing reasonable suspicion will be to ask the potential juvenile's age and reason for being out during the restricted hours. If there's a legal basis, which would be those exceptions that were just covered, for the juvenile being out during the restricted hours or a defense, no criminal action should be taken. And lastly, with the penalties, if a juvenile is found to be in violation of this ordinance, they are subject to being adjudicated as delinquent. Any other person will be subject to a Class 3 misdemeanor and a fine not to exceed $500. And that would be a brief overview of the contents of the ordinance. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Councilmember Benavente.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Madam Attorney, I need some clarification on the way that this conversation was framed. Mayor Colvin asked that you recount the requirement that because there's a criminal element to this ordinance, that the first thing we did was direct you to draft something. That was during the special meeting, correct?
Yes, sir.
Then at the last city council meeting we had, you presented what you drafted, correct?
Yes, sir.
And that satisfied that requirement for not being able to pass it that same day, but that it was made public, correct?
That was the date of introduction.
Right. And so there is no requirement today that we pass anything necessarily, that in fact it's still within the purview of the majority of city council to say whether or not we indeed want to enact such a curfew or not. It is not sort of preordained or pre-prescribed, correct?
Well, council did already approve the concept. What we're doing today is adopting the text of the ordinance.
But that is not something we have to do.
All the actions are at council's pleasure, sir.
So just to clarify once again, just because we asked you to draft something, just because you presented the language last time, it is not a requirement that we adopt any sort of ordinance tonight.
That is correct.
Thank you. Ms. Sweeney, or Attorney Sweeney, can you help me understand the exception, designated time frame and area? There is a requirement that only a court-appointed guardian can be supervising a juvenile, but then there's an exception that a parent can designate somebody who would then not be necessarily a court-appointed guardian, correct?
You have
And if you could
a
pull
legal
the slide.
definition of which line?
I guess the exception would be what I'm most interested in, because I think on your original slide you said that you had a definition slide, and then during the definition slide you said that a court-appointed guardian is what you consider to be a guardian.
Correct.
But then you have an exception here that says someone who's not necessarily a court-appointed guardian can be accompanying someone underage, correct?
A juvenile can be accompanied by an adult 21 years of age or older, as long as they have permission from the parent or guardian.
So that individual who's
Does-
21 years or older, who has permission of a parent, is not necessarily a court-appointed guardian, correct?
Correct. That person simply has permission from the parent or the court-appointed guardian.
Right. Now, can you give me some more specifics when you say designated time frame and area? So you're saying that if I'm a 21-year-old person who's supervising a juvenile who I am not a court-appointed to be their guardian, and it's 11:30, and a police officer approaches us, what sort of time frame and area designation am I supposed or expected to provide?
Based off the language of the ordinance, I would say it's not a citywide pass to be out after the curfew. It's for a designated purpose.
So if I tell a officer who approached me that my designated purpose, whatever it is, and is, for this time, I'm trying to understand exactly how somebody would meet this exception, and I'm not sure if I'm hearing that just yet from you.
To meet this exception, I would say you have a juvenile who might need to go to the grocery store. The designated purpose would be the grocery store. It's not, again, a pass to be anywhere and everywhere within the city, but rather for a certain purpose.
But you only have me telling you if I'm not at a grocery store and we are instead at a gas station, or we're instead at another place that's open after 11. I mean, really, it's up to me just to sort of say it, and I can't prove to an officer that I'm indeed their court-appointed guardian. I can say that I've been appointed by one, or I've been given permission by their court-appointed guardian. But how are we determining the veracity of the time frame and area exception?
In terms of that situation, I would say it would need to be based on the officer's best judgment in the situation.
Can you also speak to, and maybe this is going to be ultimately for the chief of police, but how would you see the First Amendment exception being exercised?
If a juvenile states that they are trying to exercise their First Amendment right, perhaps it's a midnight protest or something along those lines, I don't believe that we would infringe upon those rights.
So you're saying that as long as they say they're exercising their freedom of speech and or assembly, that should be sufficient for an officer to leave them alone?
The ordinance has a provision in there about an exception for the First Amendment rights, yes.
So simply stating it would be your recommendation, and that it would be then the attorney's office's recommendation to police to leave those people alone?
Right now, we're not offering any recommendations. I'm simply presenting on the contents of the ordinance.
At what point will you be working with the police department to establish exactly what will happen in these types of scenarios? 'Cause I'm sure you guys discussed that, right? Like before something goes down, if you have enough awareness of it, you guys will kind of discuss with law enforcement exactly processes and procedures to make sure that they're legal and constitutional, correct?
We can try to predict the most common scenarios that an officer could encounter and provide the training necessary in those situations. But again, we cannot predict every single situation.
No, I'm not asking you to predict every single one. I'm just talking about the First Amendment one of the exceptions that we have listed here specifically.
Yes, the officers will be aware of these exceptions.
Right. So how would we make sure that we are adhering to a standard when it comes to having a young person say, I have a flag that I'm carrying and I have 2 friends, versus someone who has maybe no friends and is doing a First Amendment demonstration of one? What sort? You guys have not had that conversation with law enforcement yet on how to address that First Amendment exception?
Excuse me, Mayor Colvin.
Yes.
I just, for purposes of this presentation, Aaron, we've only discussed the text of the ordinance. There is a task force that has been formed. We're coming back on June 9th. We will have more information. In addition, after the June 9th meeting, before enforcement begins, the attorneys will be providing training to
Madam Attorney,
police department.
Am I to understand that your expectation is that we we pass this ordinance today without having a full understanding of how it will be actually enforced, or before law enforcement actually can articulate how they'll be enforcing it?
I'm comfortable with that because we are not ready to enforce. We will deploy the team that Brooke Redding has been leading. We will also train the officers. So we will have some interim steps before enforcement begins. So I don't have any pause with adopting it today and implementing it later.
So you don't see a problem?
And Councilmember, you got several other been waiting patiently.
Okay, let me ask the city chief of police in that case the next 2 questions. Thank you, Attorney Sweeney. Chief Joyce, at a certain portion of the presentation that was just done, a point was made that you have to first establish reasonable suspicion before you approach a juvenile. I'm trying to understand what that portion of the slideshow could possibly mean. That you first have to establish reasonable suspicion before you try to enforce this ordinance. What does reasonable suspicion look like in this case?
Of course, any of those could be voluntary encounters with anyone that we may see during that time frame, to get out to talk with them, to be able to investigate should we suspect anything else could be afoot at that time. If we are during a normal traffic stop and see someone who may be under the age of that curfew at the time could give us that reasonable suspicion to make further inquiries into their age. A lot of those things are how we would develop that. We could be out investigating someone calling in, someone pulling on door handles in a parking lot of an apartment complex and get out with those individuals and determine that they're juveniles. So, of course, it would start to shift from reasonable suspicion to probable cause at that time.
It sounds like from the examples you just gave, though, reasonable suspicion really came from, we got 911 calls about someone pulling door handles, or you also said that maybe a traffic stop had already, whether it was veering lanes or whatever the situation was that caused you to stop, were really the initiating issues in those examples. I'm talking about a situation where you're just trying to enforce this curfew. What sort of reasonable suspicion are you thinking that your officers are going to have to find in order to enforce this curfew?
I think if they were patrolling in any area, whether it was around a park, public area, see individuals who, in their training and judgment, appear to be under the age of 16 years, they would get out, a voluntary encounter, and try to determine their age to see why they're out at that time, and if so, if they are in violation of the proposed curfew.
So when you say voluntary encounter, can you say more about what that means?
Councilman, you've had the floor for about 6 minutes, but...
Well, I think that I'm probably going to be the only council person that's got real questions about this.
Not
so
necessarily, because they've got lights lit, so...
I question that, but just let me finish this question, then I'll pause for round two.
All right.
A voluntary encounter would be me approaching you, introducing myself, and attempting to get your information.
Right. So is that something you can do right now without this curfew?
Yes, it is.
Have you had issues or heard from your staff, your rank and file folks, that they've been unable to initiate these kinds of contacts for lack of a curfew?
No, sir.
Okay. I'll ask more questions at another time. Chief Joyce, I appreciate your candor.
All right, thank you. We have Councilmember McNair.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That was a lot. I would like to ask, before we move forward with this ordinance, that we bring before council to have an increase of funding for additional camps and other youth programs and activities, and also marketing at a high alert for this ordinance, so that everyone get full understanding, throughout the community and our churches and all the different places like that.
Yeah.
So that everybody don't feel, some people feel like they're bound and other people are really free with this, but.
Right.
And I'm a little iffy anyway, so.
Well, it sounded like a motion for a minute there, so.
It is a motion.
Okay. All right. So if I understand it, let me repeat that. It was a motion.
It's a motion to have council.
That it will approve this with the conditions that there will be an expansion into youth-related programs and activities and an education period. Is that what you're saying? Which all the things that council agreed and discussed during the original special
Does that
meeting
line
and
up
after?
with camps and everything of that nature?
Okay.
I can second that, Mayor, if that's okay. I also thought that, I'm sorry. I also thought that there were a number of conditions that we already had spoken on to include somewhat what council member, my colleague, just stated. But I'm okay with that. I can second that.
And I think that gives council the range because originally when we called this meeting, we understood that this was a transitional process, but yet and still it's a process that has to have a beginning. And so I think that council has always been interested in making sure that there was more compliance than non-compliance. And so to do that, you have to educate people and you have to get the rules right and you have to expand the options, which I'm hearing the motion capture that Councilmember McNair and Hare just second proposed and seconded. So the discussion, I have Councilmember Davis, you have your light on, and then Councilmember Green.
Sir, I have a question for the chief when it's time for a question, but there's a motion, so I'll wait for my question after the motion.
All right.
There's a
So, yeah,
second
we got a
on the floor.
motion on the floor in a second by the McNair-Hare motion, but you can ask your question during discovery if you during discussion.
Okay, that's fine. My question is in reference to, it says using, it's one of the exemptions, using a direct route to or from a place or a home or something like that. How do you guys determine what that direct route is? Like, how can you determine where their direct route is?
If you had been at say you were at a football game in the fall, you were at Terry Sanford, who was here tonight, but yet you want to go to the Chick-fil-A on Rayford and Gillis Hill, and you live in the Terry Sanford School District, that's probably not the most direct route for you to get home during that time frame.
Okay, what if there's detours and that you have to take and stuff like that?
Of course, we would take all those things into account, and that goes back to the officer using their best judgment during that time frame. Could there be a road closure? Yes. So it goes back to the officer using their best judgment during that time frame.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Councilmember Green?
I have a question for the attorney, maybe both of you, but whoever cares to answer. So if we adopt this tonight, what does this look like if we get to June 9th and we get given information and we decide this isn't what we want to do? How do we procedurally undo it? And can it be undone?
Councilmember Green, council can always amend the ordinance as it sees fit, or it could outright repeal it.
Thank you.
All right. Councilmember Hondros?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Attorney Sweeney. This question is for Attorney Sweeney and/or Police Chief and/or Attorney Pulliam. Attorney Sweeney, you had mentioned a little while ago in your presentation about some reasonable hypothetical situations. So if a group of officers encounters a group of, I have two scenarios, a group 4 or 5 juveniles that are underage, and my assumption of what we've been told up to this point, so the officer or officers would try to contact their parent or legal guardian, right? If they contact them and the parent or legal guardian says, hey, we're on the way, we come get them, 30 minutes later they pick them up, that's an easy one. What happens if we can't reach the parents? Or, what happens if we can't reach the parents? The curfew starts at 11, it's midnight. Do we hold them for an hour? Do we hold them for 4 hours? Do we hold them till 6 o'clock in the morning? An hour into it, the kids are hungry. Do we feed them? If we feed them, who's responsible for feeding them? If they're thirsty, do we offer them something to drink? Like, as we understand it, the juveniles are not arrested. They're not detained. They're in the temporary custody of the officers. So where are we holding these young residents? And what if during that same time there's a call for service or a call for backup? What do we do what does the officer do with the youth in that situation?
Thank you for the question, Councilman Hondros. Those are some of the questions we're still exploring through the task force. We will have some scenarios available to discuss with council. We'll be available to take questions then too, but because this is an effort of the city and community partners, we're still working out those details with the community partners.
Thank you, Attorney Pulliam. And then the second scenario, so you have a group, 4 or 5 individuals that are actually 18 to 25 years old, but they look like they're 17 or younger. Officers engage those citizens, ask for identification. They are adults. They know their rights. They haven't broken any law. They're just existing beyond the curfew time. And they tell them to go fly a kite, not very respectful. The exchange gets heated. How does that play out where that's not a... eventually those citizens get a resisting or obstructing. They didn't do anything. They were just out past an arbitrary time that this council says they should be in, and they're actually over the curfew age, so they haven't broken any law. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I'd like for you to speak to that situation.
And
how
again,
officers would handle
there's
that.
probably a million different scenarios that we can think
Yeah,
of.
but these are reasonable. This
Right.
is we're
understand,
passing the ordinance
right?
so that these encounters will happen with the police. We're encouraging these encounters.
Councilmember Benavente.
We're creating the
Yeah,
environment for these encounters.
Right. Understand.
Well, I'd like the attorney to answer, please.
Yeah, I'm going to do that, Councilman Alejandros. But what I'm saying, so that you don't waste this board's time with multiple scenarios, because there
I
are.
said two.
there-
That
no,
was my second one.
I'm just speaking in general, because there were 10 given over here. This is 2, and so at some point, the reasonable of this, there will be scenarios of every making. But attorney, can you answer, or chief, can you answer that to the best of your ability?
As you talk about the voluntary encounter, again, it's going to have to go back to the officer's judgment. We're not going to take a voluntary encounter and turn this into a use of force incident.
Sure.
That's not the goal of any time we get out with someone. There are plenty of times where you try to get out with someone and identify who they are, and they do the same things that you just identified.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to take that to a point of using force or just to have a sole charge of a resist, delay, and obstruct.
Thank you, Chief. My frustrations with my colleagues. So if a resident wants to build a structure and they come to City Hall to pull a permit, which we talked about the permitting IDT portal earlier, you submit plans. That's how you get your permit. We're attempting to pass an ordinance without reviewing the plans. Thank you.
All right.
Mr. Mayor.
All right. So, Councilmember Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm sitting back somewhat flabbergasted about these different scenarios. And I would move that we pass the ordinance tonight. We're not talking about making a plan of a building that's never been constructed before. There are over 500 cities across the United States that have a curfew. There's almost 100 that have a population of over 150,000. Major cities, Philadelphia, Baltimore, Charlotte, Buffalo, Chicago, Dallas, Detroit, Houston. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel.
Keep it down in the audience.
We're just,
y'all. Go ahead,
trying to use
Councilmember. I'm sorry. I
another
was
toolbox.
trying to make sure we heard you. Go ahead, sir.
We're just trying to use another tool that's in the toolbox to keep our community safe, Mr. Mayor. We are not reinventing the wheel. This is something that has been done before. We're going to adopt it so we can try to do it here. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you. All right. Going to, let's see. Yep. Councilmember Benavente, second round, and this is during.
Excuse me, Mayor Coven.
I'm sorry.
We also have that motion and second on the floor.
We do, which is discussion, which is, there's limits on the second round of that to a minute. Yeah. All right. So Mayor Pro Tem first, and then I'll go to you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I have a question. So when a young adult gets their driver's license, and this might be for the chief. So as I recall, and I think that it's even gotten more stringent as it's gone, is you take your driving test when you're 15 and a half. The new generation doesn't want their license like my generation wanted their license at 16. So you turn 16, and if you've done your driving, which you have to do all these hours of, that you have a time, and I just thought of this in my head, so help me out. Is it 9 o'clock that they have to be in, that they cannot drive by themselves?
With the learner's permit?
With the license, when they first get their license, they cannot go out. So when I got my license, you got on the road, you could stay out as long as you wanted. When you're 16 now, if you get it at 16, you have to go a certain amount of hours that you have to drive. And then once you get it, it's at 9 o'clock, you have to be home. If you are a athlete or go to work, you go from point A to point B, and the route is, your least path of resistance, that there's not a party or there's not a girl or there's not this. It's your least path of resistance to go from work to home. And that's still in effect, correct?
Yes, ma'am. It's part of North Carolina's graduated driver's license program.
Okay, so when they turn 16, if they get their driver's license at 16, and am I not mistaken, does that last 9 months or a year?
I'm not sure of the actual time frame, but it is 9 p.m.
It is 9 p.m. And so most 16-year-olds that are out, if they're out by themselves, they really can't be driving anyway because they have that 6 months to wait. Does that make sense? Am I making?
And I'm not sure of the violations of that, but North Carolina, if you were cited past that time frame, you could potentially.
So now I'm
have your
understanding
driver's
why my
license.
children are leaving, because all their business is getting thrown out here in public. So, of course, they get stopped after 9 o'clock with their new driving permit. And what is said to them? Go home. Why are you out? They were out at a, restaurant where they shouldn't have been. So they had that pit stop from school to the restaurant to home. So I guess my thing is, a lot of it is still in here for these 16-year-olds anyway, if they're driving.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Councilman Benavente, 1 minute.
Chief Joyce, I'm sorry. I don't think we got a clear answer to Councilmember Hondros' question. If you were to initiate I forget the term they used before resolution, what kind of discussion? Voluntary? You call
Voluntary encounter?
Thank you, sir. Sorry. A voluntary encounter, you get to the point where you believe that you've got reasonable suspicion that this is a person in violation of the curfew. An officer uses their discretion to then arrest that young person for violation of the curfew.
They would be temporarily detained, and of course, by statute, we can't do that temporary detention no longer than 12 hours.
So, and again, Councilmember Hondros said if you can't get in touch with the parents in 12 hours, what happens next?
And again, as the city attorney spoke to, that's part of the task force working with our community partners, such as the Department of Social Services and others that I know will report back on June 9th of what we would be able to do in those scenarios.
So, I mean, despite the city attorney's comfortability, I'm incredibly uncomfortable thinking that I am about to turn on an ordinance with zero idea of what happens in what I think is a very basic scenario. If a child is already not accompanied at that hour, it's likely that their parent is not going to, necessarily, they got them into that situation, and we don't even know what really happens to this young person, even in the course of 12 hours, let alone after that. How dare we as a city council sort of just permit this process without any understanding of the consequences? I think there's a motion on the floor. Madam Councilwoman McNair, you made a motion. Could you restate the motion?
Okay. I would like to make a motion to have council increase funding for additional camps and other youth programs and activities, and also marketing needs to be at a higher alert so that our community are well versed at what this ordinance entails.
So with that in mind, Madam McNair, or Councilwoman McNair, the first thing you said was to increase funding, but if you are not specific about the dollar figure, it's difficult to support, because if we increased it by $1, technically everyone can say that they did something. And then the second part of your motion was to make sure we're advertising the consequences of this ordinance, but that presupposes that we even pass that ordinance. I'm hoping that there'll be an opportunity for us to discuss what the Organizing Against Racism folks, the letter they had submitted to us. I'm hoping that on June 9th and even beforehand, we can hear some more information from our partners. It may ideally come to a point where we reconsider whether we're passing this motion. So for those two reasons, I can't support your motion because it's not specific about the dollar figure, and it presupposes that we're going to pass an ordinance that, if we use good sense and we aren't impervious to good information, we won't pass. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so council, we have a motion to adopt the ordinance with the conditions of expanding the education. That was in the original motion, Councilman. Your motion was to adopt it with those conditions, correct?
It was with those conditions.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. So she just said it's with those conditions. That's what she stated it the first time. So listen, I mean, the discussion
also,
has been had, Councilman. You've had 2 rounds, which
Mr.
according
Mayor, I failed to mention one thing.
Yes, ma'am.
That we provide free transportation to and from these activities to
Okay.
our youth.
So your motion is to adopt, to expand. I think that's covered in the expansion of the programs and activities and education,
Yes.
which left the room to logistically plan. Is that and so I think that was encompassed in that. But councilors, we've discussed this. We thank the chief. Again, the intent is to encourage more compliance and partnerships from our parents. As a parent, I've raised 3 in this community, and I always wanted to know where my girls were at 15 years old at 11 o'clock. That's just reasonable, in my opinion, and in my house, because it was the same that my mother and grandmother required of me. So this is not an attack on freedoms. What this is a cry for help from the home to say, we need help with this, because I don't want Chief Joyce and his team to have to ask somebody where my kids are at 15 years old, at 11, 12 o'clock at night. I should know. And at the end of it, this is a personal responsibility. And so we hope that this is a community effort that will be addressed, because what we all agree on is the lack of doing anything has led to where we are, has led to us thinking about solutions. It's led to 2,000 or so contact and arrests in 15 months, 96 orders of arrest after 11 o'clock that are already happening. They're already being engaged with our law enforcement officers. So these are where we are. This is where we are, but this is a process. There's a task force that's been mentioned several times tonight. We're going to talk about that. I'll give some specifics about what that looks like. Those who want to come into those meetings, give the input. Constructive criticism is always welcome as we help solve this problem in our community. And so with that, council, I'll call for our votes. We've had our discussion and call for the question. You don't have 2 more rounds? I'm sorry. Okay. I didn't see you, Councilmember Green. Green and Hondros. Second round, both.
Who's first? This is very difficult for me. I want to start by saying that. Y'all know that I don't spend a whole lot of time up here talking, because I spend more time listening. It's very frustrating. I'm going to say something that is not going to be popular on this dais tonight. And you know what? It's okay, because I answer to one person, God Almighty, my Jesus, my Lord, and my Savior. That's all I answer to. So in this whole process, I sat upstairs and I listened to the mayor and I listened to everybody talk about the different ideas around this. I've watched countless podcasts this week around the subject of the curfew. I have read countless emails from constituents. I've listened to those who are very adamant about why we should do it. I've listened to those who are very passionate and adamant about why we should not do it. I am really torn. In saying that, upstairs I heard the mayor say that we had been talking about this for 2.5 or 3 years. I understand that. But I really want to ask, is 9 days, 9 to 12 days, going to really make or break this? What I feel like it will do is give us all a lot more answers that we don't have tonight. We are rushing a process that should not be rushed. We need to make informed decisions. We may come back here, and I feel certain that we probably will. Honestly, within my heart, I feel that we will come back and we will probably make the same decision to enact the curfew, but we will be making it with all of these questions that everybody has expressed tonight answered. And I'm willing to spend that 9 days or 10 days, however many days it is from now to June 9th. I'm willing to spend those days to have some people that are more knowledgeable than I am answer the tough questions. And I just don't understand it. I feel rushed. And maybe it's my age, maybe it's that I'm old school. It can be a whole lot of things. But I also agree with the mayor in that my parents laid out rules for me. And you know what? When I went out the window at midnight and got caught, I got an answer. I had to answer for it. It wasn't pretty, but it happened. But you know, those are the type of things that build character, and those are the type of things that we instilled and were instilled in us. And we're not always successful at instilling them in our children. And every child learns differently, and unfortunately, every child doesn't have the benefit of having great parents. A lot of this falls on children, on the parents. And we all know that. So are we really going to lose any ground waiting till June 9th to pass this and have all the answers, or to not pass this and have all the answers, and all feel more comfortable and have more respect for each other on this dais? Because this lack of respect is really not fun. And I know that it's evident, and I think we're working hard towards it, but we need to get over it. And I thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Green. Councilmember Hondros, second round.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I agree with you and Councilmember Green and all my colleagues. We all have in our household rules. The challenge is what my wife and I have set out for rules in our household may not be acceptable to you, or vice versa. So the challenge is when a government makes that decision for all its residents that may or may not agree with it. But I have 3 questions. Can we put slide 10 on the board, please? Because we've received several emails with articles from different groups, ACLU, Organization Against Racism, that sharing their reservations and concerns. I've yet to find one successful example of a curfew, a city that successfully had a successful impact, positive impact with a curfew. But the Mayor Pro Tem spoke to the license condition, and either attorney may be able to answer this for me. And I think it was slide 10 was penalties, not the exceptions one. So the license condition, where I think it's 60 hours, so you get your license, it's kind of a provisional, so I think it's 6 a.m. to 9 p.m., 60 hours if I'm not mistaken. But that's just a license infraction. It's not a crime, or there's not a criminal penalty, right? Is that right?
And not that I'm aware of, Councilman Hondros, the wrong H.
We do have the same DJH initials, so thank you. But on this slide, it says it's a Class 3 misdemeanor. So we're going from a license infraction to a Class 3 misdemeanor. Do Class 3 misdemeanors even qualify for court-appointed legal counsel? Do we know that?
Aaron, can you answer that?
It would likely depend on a person's prior record.
Because my point is, when we talk about these penalties potentially harming the least among us, this is exactly what we're talking about. So we give them a Class 3 misdemeanor and or fine not to exceed $500. They go to court. They don't qualify for a court-appointed legal counsel. I mean, again, this is a criminal record or a record now on the least among us because they violated an arbitrary time. I agree with Councilmember Green. 13 days or whatever it is isn't going to kill us. So, and to my council member colleague McNair, who made the motion, I can accept all of the support you want and just skip the ordinance. I can support that, but to support an ordinance without the framework, I can't do it.
All right. Thank you, Councilman Hondros. All right. Councilman McNair, did you have your light on? Was that?
I do. I just wanted to say that I agree with my colleague here. Everything she said, I feel the same way. I used to jump out the window too. So
You want to jump out the window?
yes, I did. However, there's a sense of some missing pieces here, and I have learned to be detailed over my lifetime. And when there are some missing pieces, then the puzzle can't be put together properly. And so I want to make a motion that.
Well, we got a motion on the
Oh,
floor.
that's right. We got amend. I want to amend. Can I amend? Okay, I will amend the motion.
Councilmember Harry, go ahead. Councilmember McNair.
I would like
Councilmember
to
Benavente.
amend the motion to wait until we get all the information on June the 9th before we move forward with this ordinance.
All right. So let me repeat to make sure we got it. So the motion that you made to approve it has now been changed to amend it to not approve it tonight.
Not yet, of course.
Okay. So I don't know how if you're doing that, you need to withdraw it because you're amending a motion to pass it on a date certain, but you're not saying that you want to pass it. So did you want to just withdraw it, pull it back? Because I think that's going to get confusing when it's time to vote.
Okay, we'll withdraw that. And
Okay, so then I'll go to Councilmember. Okay, so that motion is withdrawn. I'll go to Councilmember Thompson, and then I did see Councilmember Thompson.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will still stand by my motion to move along with the ordinance tonight, and then we would come back to the 9th with all the further details.
All right.
And let me just add one more comment, Mr. Mayor, if I
do a
may.
motion on top of a motion.
No, your motion's been withdrawn.
Oh, okay. So he was okay. Even June 9th.
All right, hold on. Go ahead, Councilmember Thompson. You still have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would just like for my colleagues to realize that the people that are being harmed out there, the people that are being killed out there, look like me. And I want to make sure that we do all we can to make sure if we can save one life, it'll be well worth it. I think we need to use every tool in the toolbox to keep our city safe. We talk about the youth over and over and over again. You had 3 sets of them come in today with presentations, gave them standing ovations. Let's honor that by doing what we can to protect those youth. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, so there's a motion by Councilmember Thompson. Is there a second by Councilmember Banks McLaughlin? All right. Discussion on this motion to approve. Councilmember Davis and then Benavente.
My question is for our city attorney. I asked this question upstairs. If we move to approve this today, can we not put an effective date that the ordinance actually goes into effect?
Yes, sir. You can.
I have the mic, sir. Thank you.
He's asking a question. He's got the floor, sir.
So we could move forward, but put it like after June 9th. We can put a set date for after June 9th or June 9th.
Yes, sir.
That was my question. Thank you.
All right, Councilmember Benavente.
City Manager Hewitt, didn't Brooke Redding have some commentary for us today?
Mr. Redding and the team are available to talk about what we are sketching out for June 9th.
Can that be done right now?
It probably
I would like discussion phases of a motion.
No, this is me asking the question because it matters. We have a council member who wants to disregard the potential for information on the June 9th. I want to make sure that we have an understanding of what's being presented on June 9th.
We discussed this upstairs. The time to do that would have been to add this as an item. So this is a motion and not a discussion phase. So we're not going to receive another presentation.
It's not a presentation, sir. I'm asking for a 2-3 sentence answer on June 9th. What are we to expect?
Of the motion of this discussion phase.
Right, and I have a question
for
Brooke Redding. I have a question for Brooke Redding then.
All right, we'll get to the question.
Mr. Brooke Redding?
But not a presentation.
I don't think he has a presentation available until June 9th. So, Mr. Redding, you're presenting on June the 9th. What are you set to present?
Yes, sir. We're actually set to present several things that the task force is structured around. So 6 different work streams, which are enforcement and SOP development with the police department, youth programming, currently being led by the OCS, public safety technology, which you received the first portion of that brief, and it'll be a review again. Special event safety with Parks and Rec. Crime Stoppers Reward implementation is another cohort with the police department, and stakeholder engagement and benchmarking with OCS in the city manager's office.
Does that include folks in the juvenile court system and Department of Social Services?
Yes, sir. We have actually actively coordinated with DSS and DJJ during these working groups.
Thank you, Mr. Redding. I guess because there's a little bit of discussion potential here, it sounds like the motion on the floor was to implement today. I think that with the potential for information on the 9th, that I ask ideally at least 5 of us. I know that Mitch has got a strong arm on at least 4 people on this council. So I'm looking very, very deeply at least 5 of us to use common sense here, get all the information available before we move forward with this criminalization curfew. I'm hoping that at least 5 of my colleagues will stand up and do the right thing today.
All right. Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Maher. Yeah, I know.
Mrs. Attorney, Attorney Pulliam, excuse me. You stated that you had no problem with us moving forward because there is going to be a time frame, whatever that is, of receiving the much information, more than what Brooke was just speaking to us about, but all of the different types of support from other stakeholders or others that are going to be helping us in moving forward with this. Did not you say that you did not have a problem and you understood how that could work in doing it that way also?
I did say that, sir.
Ma'am?
I did say that.
So what my thought pattern here is, if I can just veer just for a moment, Mayor, I know we're trying to move forward. We have had other policies and ordinances that we have dealt with, that we have voted on in support with green to support an item, and still come back and add additional conditions to those policies that are actually policies right now. I mean, we're still even doing that right now this evening. So I'm trying to understand what is the difference in with us doing that, and councils, many other councils, not just this council, been doing that in the past, and what's the difference here tonight, because we still can go back and put those items in or make changes and things along the line. I'm still trying to understand where we are. Why is that an issue, especially when the attorney is saying that it has been done in the past, and it's going to be done in the past, even when we go to another item, which is not this one tonight.
All right. Thank you, Councilman Maher. I think we know there's a difference between obstruct and delay and the intent to do it. If you don't have the intent to do it tonight, you won't have it on the 9th. And because council is able to walk and chew gum at the same time, to do both but this is a first step, as I said before. And so, I know my gaslighting colleague down here wants to throw things out, in a very bombastic way and make it about strong arming, but it's evident who's doing that. But the delay is causing our kids to die in our streets. Okay, we did the delay, and we tried that in 2021, and now we're here in 2023, and now we're here in 2025, still having the same conversation that we were having then, but the results have gone in the opposite direction. So 500 cities have tried it, but this city hasn't tried it. So we don't know if it will work or if it won't work, but it's not in exception to, it's in addition to all of those things that we've talked about tonight and every time we bring this up. So,
It's not. Look, so we're going to keep this respectful. So if you want to talk about my courage and guts, you can talk to me after the meeting. But until then, we're going to conduct ourselves professionally, so get with that. Well, it didn't happen.
Mr. Mayor, I'm calling for the vote.
Yeah, so call for question has been called. We'll look to you for your votes. All right, call for question means it's time to vote.
Green.
All right. All right, the motion is green, carries 6-4. Those voting in opposition, McNair, Green, Hondros, and Benavente. All right, motion carries. All right, and the last item, the Temporary Use Special Events Council, if they could, it's presented as an administrative report, if we can shift that to a work session so that we can talk through the details of that. Mr. Manager, you tracking that? All right. All right, council, motion to adjourn.
So moved, sir.
Adjourn.